And welcome, everybody. This is Fat Guys on a Little Podcast, I believe, episode 58.
A lot. Way too many.
Yeah, we're rolling along with our millions. Okay, maybe not. I'm Steven, always joined by
Charles.
And we got the extravagant guest from
Big Get. Our usual big
from
guest.
Chicago, Illinois, William Lockhart, BV, the notorious one. How you doing, Bill?
Yo, what up?
Today, the women can turn us off. We're gonna talk.
It's all wall-to-wall football.
We snuck in a couple little reviews, but most of it's football. Mr. Wigington didn't make it, but Mr. Lockhart did. So the three of us are gonna go over some college, some pros, and getting ready for the
incoming football year.
Yeah, we're already at the second week of the preseason that nobody wants but does want. I don't know.
Does BV watch preseason football? Do you watch preseason football, BV?
I used to, not so much anymore.
I can't do it.
I find myself watching it at the gym. So
if it's on,
yeah.
I'm not going to argue that. But
I was watching Tennessee.
What I'm saying is like NFL is typically like appointment TV for me.
Yeah, but not in the preseason.
Preseason, I'm like, it's on. Yeah,
if I happen to catch it, I'll watch a little bit of it. But they're playing so few of any starters at all now that it's...
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, no one plays in it. It's all audition. I can't deal with it.
Yeah, and before we start, I want to give an update on Holly's driving. Made it all the way to Toledo. Hour and a half drive.
Down Telegraph.
Telegraph from Michigan to Toledo. Hour and a half one way, hour and a half back.
Wow.
She's up to 12 hours of driving. We're getting there. Slowly getting there. So it won't be long, and then I don't have to.
She cut a lady off, though. Tell the story. She cut the lady off.
Right. Like, it always happens closest to home. Like, we're right before getting home, and she's just in the left lane of Telegraph. And like, I was like, well, you want to get over? We got to turn right on Van Born. Okay, it didn't look. And a lady in a minivan swerved back. Me and Michelle both had mini heart attacks. But other than that, the rest of the trip went fine.
So I wanted to add a new segment because you and BV are on. Let's go around the room. Let's find out what everyone's sugar is. I heard.
Mine was 107.
107, Steve.
Are you able to give a number for yours, Charles? Or
I need to. I hope
bring
it's
the
okay.
kit.
I'll start checking
it?
mine. We'll check mine every day.
I got plenty of extra little things you can check your finger
Let's
if
get
you
some
want.
test strips going. BV, what'd you clock in today?
Well, I'm only 2 weeks into this, so I'm this morning was 141.
Okay, so we're still dialing in BV. Steve's pretty well dialed in, and I'm sure
Bill's
I'm
getting
well
there.
above. So that's our sugar check-in. It's the new podcast segment we're starting.
Funny enough, I did check Holly because she was nervous about it. Like, I want to find out. She's only like at 86. So it was like,
okay.
And she eats a lot of sugar. But
The best will be when I'm like at 300 when we goof around and do me.
yeah.
Awesome.
But
I wasn't even 300 when I got.
Yeah, what did you? So Steve said you were clocking over 4. You were at the Quattro.
No,
I was wrong.
I was when I tested, it was 287, I think.
Okay.
Sorry.
And what is ideal range for you guys? What
70 to 130.
70 to 130. So
Yeah.
100 is basically right around that.
I think
spot.
anything over 125 is considered diabetic.
Yeah.
Wow. All right, man. So that's your diabetic check-in. BV, are you on any different medication than Steve? Do you have any medication tips for the listeners out there?
I don't know. You know, I probably am. I'm on. Well, I think everyone that does this is metformin.
That's like the standard issue, it seems. Like the
Yeah.
lisinoprils for the blood pressure that I'm on. This is.
Oh yeah, I've got that too.
Oh, he's got some lisinopril. Gave me
I got
a cough.
I've got lisinopril and
HCTZ. You got any? You got any water pills rather in there? You got any?
furosemide.
Oh, nice.
I have Farxiga.
Let's everyone dump our pills out. See what we're doing.
Dude, it would take me a while. I think I'm on like 9 or 10 different things.
That old Clint Eastwood movie, fistful of pills.
Yeah. So
Yeah, my insurance got goofy with an omega-3 kind of thing. So instead, I have this thing called fenofibrate.
jeez.
So yeah,
Nice. I hear BV rattling in the background.
yeah, I've got them all lined up in front of me. So.
BV checking the rattler here. What do you got?
Yeah, it's pretty bad. I'm like a 74-year-old woman now. It takes me I need
You
like
got the
15
days
minutes in the morning
separated
to
on a
take all
little
my
day
pills.
pill bottle thing. You know?
Yeah, dude, you got the little flip tops, dude. This is my Tuesday pills. You know what I mean?
Well, I do have one, but to get one that would actually hold all the pills I have to take, I need a bigger.
BV needs a duffel bag. in
It's
order to
bad.
do
You
it.
need
Yeah,
those
I've got-
plastic Easter
He looks
eggs.
like a bodybuilder in the opposite direction.
Yeah, dude, if I took the labels off, and Just you saw him in a gym bag, you think I was some kind of hardcore.
Dude, you're on the cycle, dude. What's your cycle? What's your pack? That's fun, man. All right.
Has the Metformin hit you,
Steve,
in
you're
the bathroom area?
Oh yeah.
At least you're pretty much spot on. 1 out of every 3 or 4 times is just,
That's what,
It's just rocket chat.
Yeah.
straight up
Get to the
mud
toilet.
butt time.
Dude, that's awesome. So Steve's a Walgreens guy. I go to Kroger or CVS. BB, where's your pharmacy du jour? Where do you go?
I go to Walgreens.
Walgreens. Oh man,
just on the corner.
dude,
Around the
awesome.
corner.
We used to talk about fun things, and now we talk about pills. Telling
In
you,
fairness, you brought it up.
I know it's just funny that we all gonna do a sugar check in. That's how we're gonna start the podcast.
I got
every
3
week now.
pills. I got metformin. I got some pill that for triglycerides. I don't even know the name of it. And Losartan, which helps reduce water or bloating in your ankles.
Yeah, I've got hydrochlorothiazide for that.
Jesus, the names of this stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
dude. It's the smallest pill I've ever seen in my life. Like, I can't even tell if I take it. Does that make sense? Like, you put it in your mouth and you got to kind of use your tongue to make sure it's in there.
You almost don't know if you're even swallowing it.
Yeah, it's crazy. And then, so right now I'm still trying to get rid of a little bit of this last cough. So I'm on like that Mucinex pill. That is the biggest goddamn horse pill on the planet. Like, dude, it is a massive pill. Just trying to kick the goo out of my lungs.
Yummy.
So
Yeah, I even have a Pravastatin, which is it's a cholesterol
I was gonna say
pill.
statins
but
are-
I don't have high cholesterol, but I'm on a cholesterol pill.
Wow.
It's supposed to be for heart health or something, but yeah, it's goofy.
Jeez, man.
you take over any over-the-counter things? Like, do you have to take baby aspirin or fish oil pills or anything like that?
I take a full-size aspirin, and I also take I don't have to, but I take a calcium, magnesium, zinc pill.
How often are you stopping by the pharmacy with that many scripts, dude?
Every 3 days.
Because, yeah, it's rough. Like, that's the one thing I hate is babysitting the prescriptions. You know what I mean? You can never get them synced up so that they're all ready at the same time. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's
God.
And with
Yeah,
that,
fortunately, I got that with I was due for an upgrade, for the renewal of my regular stuff. So I've got pretty much everything on time now, and I get them in 90-day increments, so I don't have to go quite all that often. But
Oh.
Well, mine, they screwed up all the diabetes stuff, so I'd get like 2-3 different things of test strips, 2-3 things of Lancets.
This day that's in.
Yeah,
that
yeah,
day
and it's
this
like
is
I got
in.
100 of these things.
It's
What I
so
mean,
annoying.
They were a
man.
little. They got it
God.
now, but at first it was like all over the place.
Well, and to your point, like with the diabetic testing stuff, my CPAP stuff, because again, we're going to keep dumping on our pill bottles here. My CPAP, I have a bin full of masks and tubes and everything. I mean, the insurance, I don't know how often they send that crap, but man, I got just a
you
ton of
dressed
that
like Darth Vader for Christmas or Halloween.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
I got
Christmas.
enough to literally give everyone in this room, like, and BV. I got all 3 of us CPAPs and equipment if you guys need it. Yeah, it's crazy.
you have multiple units too, not just.
I have
masks.
2 full units because they replaced my unit on a schedule thing. And then, like I said, I've got enough headgears and everything. It's crazy.
Wow.
So, yeah, gotta love insurance at times. White people problems.
So there you go. This is a real uplifting intro to the sex. to the
Yeah.
podcast. We're old, we're fat, and we're full of medicine.
It's called Dump
Yeah,
Your
but-
Medicine Out. It's the new segment.
Our apologies, ladies. I know you must be unbelievably excited, but unfortunately, we're all spoken for. So
Yeah. You know, if Gary comes on the podcast, he'll have a fistful too.
Oh yeah, dude. We'll also, and that's what we're gonna start doing. Dude. We're gonna start doing taste tests of different medicines.
Yeah. Well, it did give me a little bit of a fever and a rash when I took this one. So we're gonna do a little bit of reviews, then we're gonna go right into football, and then a little bit of MMA that
Hardcore
we watched
football,
last night.
yeah.
So there you go. Now the first thing I caught this week, and I don't know if Bill still watches the show or not. I caught Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling on Netflix season 3.
Season 3. Now this is the Allison Brie is the chick's
Yes,
name from
and then
Community.
the blonde girl who I don't know her name. I should probably know it, but she plays Lady Liberty or what? Liberty Bell. They're the 2 main characters. 10 episodes, half hour each. Went pretty fast.
I think the show sucks. I know you have hung in it for a while. I think it sucks.
I thought the first season was too much drama. The second season they learned their lesson and they lightened it up. The second and third season feel a lot like early seasons of Orange is the New Black. So they're starting to go into the sub characters.
because the first season was terrible.
Yeah, it was just too much drama.
Dude,
in
it
the
was
first season.
terrible.
They eased way up on that. So a lot more fun, a lot more. It really reminds me of early Orange is the New Black. So, I mean, there's a little drama here and there, but nothing like the first season. She had an abortion at the end of the first season. If you remember.
It's just it was way too deep.
There's
And
none
then
of
her
that
competing
kind of
to make
stuff,
the roster and stuff.
The only
like
thing
that.
they do they're in a hotel now. They're doing the show from a hotel, and they're doing a gay benefit, and of course, someone ransacks the benefit and sprays,
homosexual
racial slurs.
yeah.
So that's a little about the most serious as it gets. But I enjoyed it. Now the funny thing about it is 10 episodes about a wrestling show, not barely a drop of wrestling in it.
Oh, great!
It's mostly taking place outside the ring and stuff that happens.
Nothing
but
beats the backbone of a wrestling show not having any wrestling.
Yeah, I thought that was a little weird.
I like my sci-fi shows with no science fiction.
Yeah, I know, or my comedies with no comedy.
Yeah.
I thought that was a little weird, but other than that, I mean, like I said, it reminds me of a lot of early seasons. Orange is the New Black. They really went into like Awesome Kong or Welfare Queens. Like she's got a bad back, and they were going over how she was trying to just pop pills and sit in a hot tub all the time. I was like, I relate with this lady right now.
So, looking back at it, would you say the second or the third season's the best season?
That's a good question. They're pretty equal, but I probably like the third season a little more. Just went faster, moved along. I think the second season had 13 episodes. This was the third season. So 10 episodes. They spent their whole season at Vegas because Gina Davis showed up. She was the owner of the hotel in Vegas, and it was pretty good. I enjoyed it. I way better than Orange is the New Black.
It's for me. It's just that first season of Glow. I wanted to like it more than it was. It was terrible.
Yeah, they really learned their lesson by the second season. They lightened it up quite a bit. Because if they
needed
didn't,
to.
I would have been out. If it was going to be super drama the whole time. But I enjoyed it. I don't know. It kind of ends a little bit on a cliffhanger at the end of the third season. And from what I understand, it has been renewed. So might be the end of it. I don't know. But I enjoyed it for what it was.
They went on a weird turn, though. I watched. I've seen the season now already, but yeah, no, I have to. I think the second season was a little better because it was a little bit more focused on the wrestling and making the company work. They're getting a little, and I'm not exactly sure why they feel. And I guess it's maybe playing off some of the stuff from the first year too. But the whole thing with the bisexual bash thing, and it's getting a little bit too off track.
But that seems to be like the Netflix thing, because you hit on Orange is the New Black last season. It's like you grab all these headline topical things and spin it up into a show really quick. It's really weird the way Netflix does that.
Yeah. And and the other thing, by this point, the third season, it literally has nothing to do with the real Glow that aired when we were kids.
Well, that was what I was going to ask you next. Is like how
There's
much
no
are
tie
we,
into the real stuff at this point.
It's purely just broad strokes.
They just
of like
took a right,
ladies wrestling in the '80s, and we're here now.
The focus is completely off of wrestling now. It's like they've gotten. They went from all this whole dramatic making the roster, trying to make something work, and they're like in the first season, which was, like you said, way too dramatic. They seem to kind of get a nice balance in the second season where they're kind of telling the story of Glow, and now they're getting so deeply into the individual characters, and they're off, screen issues or whatnot, that the wrestling has almost become an afterthought. So the whole Glow company itself is not really the story anymore.
But the one highlight, that main blonde, man, she got a body. Jesus Christ.
That's Steve's creepy moment of the day.
She's got a great ass.
Yeah, she got a lot of sex scenes in this season too. I was like, Jesus. I'm looking at Michelle like, God, that woman's disgusting. No, I'm just kidding. But it's like, oh. Yeah,
he's got one hand on your pants.
Yeah. Say, hey. Glow season 3. If you like early Orange is the New Black, I compared a lot to that. But if not, then it's not your cup of tea. But if you're, it's not really about wrestling at this point, so which is kind of weird.
It's a drama, comedy,
considering it's Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. Now the next thing is a review of a product I bought, and I got ripped on for it. But I've always wanted one, and I thought it was hilarious to get one. I bought a bidet from Amazon.
Well, you didn't buy a bidet. You bought an attachment for your toilet.
So that makes it a bidet.
Yeah, let's not make sure that we didn't put a second toilet in your bedroom or bathroom.
So you buy it on Amazon. It's about $21, $22, and you get
this
free
is
shipping.
a device now that's going to sit in between your toilet seat and the bowl, right?
Yes.
And you kind of locked it into place right there.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's a garden hose attachment that's going to clean your crap.
Yeah, basically what it is. Yeah, the only knock on a give on it that I've used it now.
Well, so hold on.
sometimes.
Let's go back to the install. You
Yeah.
splice the clean water line that fills your tank. You splice that line.
Yeah.
And that's what actually feeds the water to it.
Yeah, and I'm no mechanic and I'm no handyman, not nearly as much as Charles. And I did it all in about 15 minutes. It's not that
You
hard.
just had to
install.
swap a water line. You
Yeah,
said,
yeah. I needed a flex water line, which is $6 at Lowe's, so it's
Yeah.
not expensive. But if you already have a flex water line on your toilet, you don't have to worry. Flex water lines, those metal mesh ones that can bend a lot better than the hard plastic. So it gives you all the parts you need. You put one part on the bottom of your tank that's kind of like a Y shape. So the mesh line goes into that, and then there's a hose that goes from that before it hits the tank into the bidet, attachment.
Yeah.
And then you got a plastic hose that connects to that and into the bidet.
Okay.
And
And now, again, like I asked you before, there's nothing powering this. There's no,
no
batteries.
no power.
We
no
went a little
electric, no
Japanese, but we didn't go crazy Toto Japanese
No,
where
no,
it's like
no.
plugged in and all. Your
No.
toilet is not plugged into the wall.
No.
Okay.
I wasn't gonna do that. There are ones like that where
Yeah,
you got to
that's
have
what
a
I'm
power
saying,
lock.
yeah.
And no, I don't need steam or whatever. I don't
Oh,
need water.
steam in the cracks.
Yeah, I don't need any of
you
that
can
kind
eat
of
off
stuff.
that thing when you're done.
Changing temperatures. I've seen some of those.
Oh,
and
man.
I was
Warm
like,
the water
that's
up.
too much. This is 23.
Oh, Steve,
bucks.
that's just way too much.
That's way too much.
This is like
too
how
much.
I am, like the beginning of like saunas, and Heather and I love saunas now. Your bidets are going to be your thing. You're
Yeah.
going to keep upgrading.
I won't want to take a dump anywhere but
yeah.
at home.
Oh my God, if I can't wash my crack. with my-
I'm out. What am I gonna do with this?
So your first ride, how would you describe a bidet here?
Oh, you gotta be careful with that pressure because that hits that butthole.
so,
That hurts.
so when you're on the Star, it's extra sensitive.
Yeah. Don't go full blast on the Star. It
Can you
hurts.
adjust the pressure
Yeah,
to it?
it's got a knob on the right. So it's
you
on off.
so
knob.
hold on. So if I'm going over there for my first ride on this bidet, I want to go easy. I don't want to go full
you wanna
tilt.
go, it's got little circles, and the circles get bigger.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
you know,
Don't go getting crazy.
Don't go full circle. Go like 2-3 circles in. You're good.
Okay. And
I,
can you move
I went full
the-
circle because I was like, let's do it.
Oh,
Yeah, that'll
can
wake you up.
Now, can I aim it? Is there like
Yes.
an aim feature
So
to
next
it?
to the knob with the water pressure,
Geez, you got like a joystick attached
there's
to
a
the toilet
little.
now.
It's a little flip switch, and you can move it to angle the.
Where it's hidden.
Yeah,
with
so
the
the
nozzle.
little plastic nozzle will move up and down on an angle towards your butt cheeks as you
Is it
control
far out of the way, or if you blow ass on, if you metformin and blow ass on this toilet, are you gonna follow that nozzle?
No, it's on the back of the toilet.
So you think it's pretty far out of the
Yeah,
way? You'd
yeah,
have to get really crazy.
You'd have to really be like 3-point stance to get out.
just hiking that into
to
that
crap
toilet.
on that.
Okay.
But it works, man. But I'll give you a pro tip. I think I told you last
Yeah.
night. Once after you get splashed and clean, sit there for about 15 seconds. Let the water drain down.
Yeah.
Don't stand up immediately. Let
Or
the
do you do like a
water-
dog? Do you just shake your ass?
Yeah, I
really
guess you
hard?
could do that too. Run some toilet paper down there.
So, all in all, do you feel cleaner when you
Oh
leave?
man, it feels great. Imagine you went outside and just blasted your ass with
Well, I know
garden
it
hose.
sounds really tough. I'll be honest with you. It's sensitive back there, especially after that. I feel like a little
not-
vulnerable after I just destroyed your toilet. I don't want to go.
It's not quite as fast as a garden hose. It's more like a sprayer on a kitchen sink. It's about that much pressure. So if you can handle that, you can handle this.
So well, let's get into logistics here, people. So you drop anchor, then
Yeah.
you're like, hold on, it's time to finish things up.
Yep.
You bring up the pressure, and then you start tweaking the aim. Because I'm sure
Really, you
between
don't-
you and Michelle, there's a different spot. that
Well,
you're
Michelle
hitting.
won't use it, and neither will Holly. They're like,
Oh, so this is exclusively a Steve item.
They're afraid of it. I was like, you guys give it a try. Like, I'm not using that. They get like offended. I don't know
So,
why.
in theory, once you set yours up, as long as no one monkeys with it, you're good to go.
I don't really need to angle it. The default straight down 90
Was right in the
angle
hole.
Goes right in the hole.
Oh,
man.
dude, fire in the hole.
Fire
right
in
there.
the hole. I guess you could
So-
move it around if you had a really messy one to get different angles of the
you
butt.
really get all the splash.
Yeah.
So you drop anchor, you fire this thing up. How long? Is it a quick blast of water, or you really got to get in there pressure washer style? Like, I mean, how?
It's a straight, steady stream.
So you just like a real quick.
So I
let me
did
get a
about
little rinsage,
a 10-second
a
blast.
little blast. Then we
And I was
break
like,
out,
feeling good.
A little
Took
bit of TP.
Took some TP, wiped it. Oh, man, that's pretty clean.
I was gonna ask, does this supplement or replace the wipe?
It replaces
supplement.
the wipe. Well,
You're still wiping, right?
just to get the water out. I mean,
Oh, so you're telling me in
You
theory,
really don't have to.
So
if you
it's
could
that-
air,
it's that accurate.
that's what I'm saying to BV.
Yeah.
So in theory, if you could get this thing dialed in with a blow dryer at the end and dry up the water,
Yeah,
you wouldn't
that-
have to need toilet paper.
Yeah, that's probably what the electric
Wow.
ones
Yeah.
do. They probably
You get
there
another
are
line
ones
next
that-
with the blow
I wasn't
dryer.
making it up about with the steam and the hot air. There are ones that have that.
Yeah, I've seen them in Japan.
Yeah. So
How can
Wow.
you trust that though?
trust what?
That you're not going to need to wipe it afterwards.
Well, I still do.
His underwear will tell him.
Yeah, pretty
Well,
much.
yeah, but I mean,
You
I wouldn't
can
wanna
feel
find
it.
out that way.
I'm telling you, when it hits that starfish, you know everything's blown out of there because all you feel is pain after a while. Oh, that's clean. That's clean. Turn that off.
I'd be
This
very
is
hesitant for a line.
So all in all, $25 experiment. Sounds like you're all in.
I'm in, man. I love it. I want a bidet at work. I
Oh,
want a bidet at
man.
home. I want bidets everywhere.
Wow.
So, hey, man, they cleaned it up pretty good. No problems. I was always curious about them for years.
But
I've always
I'm
seen them on
curious to
TV and
see-
stuff, and I was like, I really want to try one of those.
I want to see a long-term review on like number one, how funky it gets, and like number. You know what I
it's
mean?
not. That's one thing. If I was gonna give it a knock, the one I bought, you probably get more higher end
Yeah.
ones. It's kind of cheap plastic, so I'm saying a year. I'm gonna
You
get
think it
out of
might
it.
break
It's
on
gonna
you,
a
man.
hose is gonna pop
Yeah.
or something.
Oh, dude, if you're riding that thing when that hose pops, dude, that's crazy.
So it was fun. I like it. It cleans you pretty good.
I can't wait to give the eulogy at your funeral when I say, yes, and he died of a broken line on his bidet attachment. It took him out.
Some flesh-eating virus got in his bidet, went right up his ass.
Yeah,
he was dead in
He
seconds.
drowned from his
So there you go, new bidet. You can go out and you can find them on Amazon. They have bidet bottles. If you want to try a bottle, Charles, I've seen these. It's like a giant bottle, like a water
So
bottle.
hold on, I want to make sure. We need to pause for a second.
Okay.
You've been researching bidets.
I was
for some
researching it, man.
time.
I was like, if I'm going to do it, let me find out all my
How
options.
long have you been curious about this bidet?
Years, I'm telling you. I always wanted one. I was like, you know when I first saw one? I think it was Crocodile Dundee, where they were
The movie from the 80s?
Yes, where he's in the bathroom.
It planted a seed in you since the 80s of like,
Yes.
I need to
And he
wash
couldn't
my
figure out that
anus.
toilet that was shooting water out, and I couldn't figure out either because I was a kid, and Dad explained, well, you sit on it and it clean. I was like, whoa, where did they come up with
Oh
that?
my God,
So
Steve
since
is
I was
so
a kid-
French.
You think you know people.
Yeah, so I was always curious.
So you're always farting around. So you're telling me you could basically get a douche bottle to friggin' shove up there.
and it's got a big attachment. You stick it under your schnutz and under the toilet. Like, this is your on-the-go one.
On-the-go
And
bidet.
then
Steve's
you
gonna start
squeeze
carrying
it,
that with him.
and it
His
shoots you.
portable bidet.
We could probably get a double gulp sticker to put on that thing at the same time.
Well, it was funny because I was reading the reviews, and this one guy's like, I do a lot of traveling for work, so I always take mine in my luggage.
Dude, he travels with his juicer.
Yeah, his portable bidet. So,
Oh my
so you want
God.
to try a portable one before
So
the
you
the
would
real
say it
deal.
sounds like you're very positive on the experience.
so far.
It sounds like it's lived up to everything you thought it was going to
Yeah,
be.
man, so great.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you Captain Eco, man. Look at I can use like 2 squares now. And
Yeah,
that's
because
it.
all you do is dab and dry.
Yeah. I mean, look at how much environment I'm saving.
Yeah,
I'm looking out for you, Charles. That's why I was
Yeah.
doing this. I was like, I got to help my brother.
The
I would
problem's
have
going to
thought
be,
you were so
though-
damn eco-progressive.
Yeah, that you're just
when
going
it
to
comes
wash
to my
it.
ass.
The problem's going to be, man, you're not building up a tolerance in your beehole. When you go to someone else's toilet and have to use like a handful of toilet paper, it's going to feel like sandpaper now.
Yeah, I still dump enough where I gotta go outside of work, so I'm well aware of it. So there you go, the bidet on Amazon.
Wow.
Check them out. They got all kinds. There's one I saw. Well, I saw a infomercial. It's called the Tushy, and that was a more complex one. That like has a seat built into it and stuff like that.
So
It was
that's
like
a whole attachment.
It was like
to the
$100-something. That's the one I was like, man, I might get that. But then I found this one that just attaches to your current seat for $25. Much more economical.
All right.
So,
And then maybe years later, you spring for the one that you plug in.
yeah. You know it's only gonna go up from here now.
Wow.
I'd be like, Charles, like I want to powders your tush
Dude,
while
I'm
you
telling
sit
you,
there.
man.
The greatest tush ever.
Put in a baby powder cartridge.
So there
Give
you
him time, we'll get one with a massage component.
go. Oh man. So there you go.
Just
The
taint
bidet.
massager.
So now the other movie I did see besides the bidet, that wasn't a movie. This is another one of my Batman animated movies came out. It's Batman Hush. Back in early 2000s, there was a Hush series that was in the comics.
Really popular, well thought.
Drawn
out
by
stuff.
Jim Lee.
Yeah.
It was really done well. This movie's based on it.
Does the new animated movie have the same aesthetic as the comic, or
Yeah, somewhat, but it doesn't look as good as the comic. I wish DC would just pick a look and stick with it. Like, if you want Batman the Animated Series look, just stick with it. They're constantly tweaking their look. So, like Disney, for years, Mickey Mouse looked like Mickey Mouse, and this is how he's drawn, even though they've changed him recently. You got the same animation style. You know, when you see a Disney character, you go, yeah, that Disney drew that. Warner Brothers, they're just all over the place. It's like, one day they look like anime, next time they look like Batman the Animated Series. This one's kind of between anime and Batman the Animated Series somewhere. It doesn't look terrible, but it's not the greatest. The only thing I'd knock it for, they changed the ending from the comic. So Hush, you don't know who he is through the whole comic series, and then there's a big reveal at the end of the comic. In this movie, they changed the person totally. So I guess they did that. So if you read the comic, you're seeing something new, I guess, something a little different. But at the same time, I was like, oh, I don't know why they did that. But other than that, I like these. It was on DC Universe app, which I still have to the end of the month. I canceled it, but you get to when you pay.
Is this a new release, or is this something you just caught?
Yeah, this came out in a couple weeks.
Okay.
It came out on Blu-ray and DVD 2 weeks ago, and it didn't hit the app until now. So
Okay.
I didn't think it was coming to the app at all, but it did. So I watched it. It's about an hour and a half long. They do good. They cuss a lot in it. I was quite shocked to see that. The other thing is Batman and Catwoman have a big romance to the whole thing. I've never been a big fan of that all the time. It's like they always try to weasel that in. And even with the Christian Bale movies, Kate and Catwoman, it's like, oh, okay, whatever. But not bad. I give it about 7 out of 10. If you're a big comic nerd like myself, that's what these animated movies are for. They're not for the casual guy. They're for the guy that read these comics, who lives and breathes these stupid stuff.
Well, you would have the DC service. Then,
yeah. Like the guy from the Floats Institute, and a couple others would be watching it, but no one else. So I don't think you or Bill would be tuning into that.
No, I like Batman the Animated Series, though. But
now, what is the West Side versus the World?
Oh, so this again is a usual deep dive Charles on Netflix stuff. So I'm wearing my shirt from a place called Westside Barbell. They're out of Columbus, Ohio. These are crazy power lifters. It is a fantastic show. So there's this guy named Louis Simmons since the 70s who's been running this. It's in like an industrial park in the back of like some random ass place. Bunch of steroid jack dudes just getting after powerlifting. It is fantastic. And he's like this ornery old guy who just doesn't give a shit about anything other than what you bench, what you deadlift, and what you squat. Like, he just is around like these crazy people all day long. This documentary is basically showing you what Westside Barbell is and then kind of like taking you on the journey of them through. These dudes are like bleeding out of the nose powerlifting and stuff. Jeez. But he's like a weird savant showing them how to do like these Russian methods. He's point blank saying these dudes are on steroids and stuff. Like he's like,
Are they bigger than The Rock?
Dude, they're huge, Steve. These guys there's some mammoth dudes doing like thousands of pound deadlifts and stuff. He's got 7 world records in his gym. Like
I'm curious, what's the life expectancy of some of these powerlifter guys?
Dude, so the Louis Simmons guy, who's like, he broke a world record at like 53. It's the craziest thing. But when he starts listing his injuries, it's the most fascinating thing ever. This documentary is amazing. I'm a huge Arnold fan, as you and BV know all about it. Like, I just love that whole universe and these crazy bodybuilders and power lifters, like any strength people, as I've kind of chronicled on this show. I'm watching it. And it's just, these power lifters are crazy dudes. They put on this stuff they call gear. You ever see the dudes where they can't move their arms and they go and bench press and stuff like that? Mm-hmm. They show you like what it's like to lift raw as opposed to lift in gear, and like how the gear actually helps you lift more and stuff. Man, this show's great. If you're into any kind of like over the top Sasquatch, strength training stuff, this show's great. Westside Barbell is an amazing place. It's like an exclusive members only gym where this guy Louis goes and like recruits these people and all this stuff. Had to get a shirt because I love it. I was just like, this is the coolest thing ever. It's this unassuming gym in Columbus, Ohio that has, like I said, like 7 world record, powerlifting things. So fantastic stuff. They're jamming ammonia salts up their nose before they're hitting the rack and stuff like that. These guys are complete nut jobs. It's so good. So West Side versus the World, it's called. It's so good.
Jeez. You do always like a good powerlifting thing.
I can't get enough of it, man. I just I love savagery on some level. Like, I love dudes who are just
or
like,
any level.
Yeah, it's so entertaining to me. I don't know. something about some guy from Iceland driving around to parks lifting up stones. I'm like, what is this? Like, who does this? It's fascinating. I got an issue. I love pugilism for the same reason. These guys who sleep on someone's couch just so they can go and, we talked about like amateur wrestlings or wrestlers and stuff.
Nuts.
These people that like can dedicate themselves to this crazy, like out of the way kind of like, like savage type sport, I can't get enough of. I don't know what it is in me, but I just love it so much. So
West Side versus the World, Giant Barbells, Columbus,
Columbus,
Ohio. Urban Meyer used to recruit from there.
You know what's funny is he trained. So the Louis guy trained strength and conditioning coaches from like Division I, like the guy from Clemson, their strength coach. Like sits there, he's interviewed in the documentary talking about like how this guy's like next level on all his stuff.
Jeez.
Crazy.
So on the next one, these guys aren't quite as big. Bill, you saw this one, didn't you? Straight Up with Steve Austin.
Is this his new?
did.
Is this
His
his new
new
like
show
late
on-
night conversation show?
Yeah, it's on right after Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, why don't you tell us about it, Bill?
Well, it's it's a different kind of show than what was the one where the Broken Skull Challenge.
I love Broken Skull Ranch. That's another crazy thing.
well, in that one he's sort of like half in character the whole time. They pick it up, and this one he's going to have guests on, and it's just more relaxed sort of conversation. They do cool stuff. So in this one he has Rob Riggle was his first guest.
From
And,
Fox TV and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
The comedian
21
guy,
Jump
yeah.
Street. He's been in
A lot of movies. Yeah.
Hangover.
Yeah, and so he just shows up, meets up with them, and they get in, was it like a Sherman tank?
Yeah, Abrams.
Abrams,
They
sorry.
get
and
into
they
an
run over,
Abrams tank.
And run over cars.
yeah, they run over cars.
It's kind of fun. I
Yeah,
might need
And
to
then they
watch
take
this.
the doors from those cars and use them later on for target practice. But then some segment where some guy shows them how to naturally cook chicken.
Yeah, they're deep frying whole chickens in like garbage cans full of hot grease.
Yeah,
I think I need to. This sounds right up my alley. I'll be
He's
honest.
Yeah,
kind of
and,
interviewing Rob Riggle.
That's what I was gonna say. So they're having conversations.
Yeah, it's like
as-
two buddies hanging out and talking.
yeah.
That sounds really good.
And then Austin's kind of more just like himself,
Yeah,
and Riggle,
Which can
I mean,
be very
he's
entertaining.
A funny guy.
yeah. And
Um,
Riggle's naturally funny.
It sounds really
Yeah,
good.
they actually spent a pretty good amount of time talking about. I guess Riggle was between active and active duty and reserve Marines. He was like 24 years in, and
Wow, really?
Yeah, and 9/11
Yeah,
he went
he
back
was-
and went to Afghanistan.
he was an
Wow,
officer.
I guess I didn't know that.
Me either. They show pictures of him in the military. And stuff.
Really?
Do you remember that movie that came out a couple years back with Chris Hemsworth, the 12 Soldiers or whatever?
Yeah, okay.
He was
He's a
in
member
that.
of that squad, is what you're
Yes,
saying?
he was part of that.
Yeah,
God, I
yeah.
need
The
to
guy
watch
he
this show
played
now.
was his
Boss, yeah, or
Boss, yeah.
sergeant or whatever. Yeah, but at the end,
Hmm.
they got one of those guns that you see on the side of a helicopter, mounted, and they're just mowing down those doors from the car. I don't know what kind of gun it is.
Yeah,
It shoots
yeah,
3,000
it
bullets
was almost
in 30
like it was like an
seconds.
oversized.
And
howitzer
so they're
type
on
thing.
the Broken Skull Ranch, just kind of
No,
hanging
it's
out?
somewhere in Los Angeles. It's like
Oh,
this
it's not in
giant
Texas
outdoor.
where- okay.
Yeah, he's in
Yeah,
Los
no, they
Angeles.
just met up
and they're
in
just
some-
this gun is
So
crazy.
basically, he's going to BS with them a little bit, and then
And
they're
do
going to go and
crazy
do
things.
random things.
Do
This
cool
sounds
shit,
great. Oh my
Next
God.
week is Sal from
Sal
Imprac-
Volcano.
from Impractical.
Yeah, I know exactly.
He's actually taking him to a wrestling ring. It looks like they're going to wrestle, and he's going to teach Sal some wrestling moves. And stuff
Wow.
like
Oh,
that.
I
It
gotta
looks
watch
fun.
this show. I gotta watch this for
That
sure.
first episode was fun. I
Was
watched
it on time? Was it an hour-long show? Was it a half-hour
hour,
show?
half hour.
Half-hour show at the end of Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, Raw doesn't run over anymore.
That's what I was
it
going to
ends
say.
pretty-
Is
it ends
is it
right
on
at
time?
well for me 10 o'clock.
I
Okay.
DVR'd it, and it was the
Yeah,
whole
I
show.
don't watch it live either. So.
This sounds right up my alley.
It was pretty good. It was a lot of fun. Two guys just doing crazy shit for a half hour and kind of talking about their history. and stuff like
Yeah, it's crazy. Okay, man, I'm
If
way
you-
in on
if
this.
You've
for
ever
sure.
watched, if you've ever listened to Austin's podcast,
that. Yeah, I have.
it's kind of he's kind of like that. He's just sort of just being himself, except there was less talk about wrestling and
Yeah.
That sounds good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not really fake. He's not putting out a bunch of.
So
bull.
I've only missed one episode, so I
yeah,
should be able to
the Rob
catch it.
Riggle. You could probably catch it on demand. So
Yeah.
Straight Up with Steve Austin. It was. I enjoyed it. I'll probably watch it or
Sounds
DVR it
really
each week.
good.
Because it's on
Yeah.
11. But yeah, I enjoyed it too. Then when he ran over that shit with that tank, it's like they just climbed up in the tank, got in there, and they had a guy driving it, and they're hoorah! And just
Yeah,
so that was a lot
and then
of
sit
fun.
there and talk about how cool it was to run over shit.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't want to do that? I know Schwarzenegger does it all the time. So there you go. There's a bit of our reviews of some shows and a bidet. And now we're going to go into, whoa, Nelly. I can't do it. I'm terrible. The NCAA. We're going to look at some
So
top
when
25.
let me ask the question. So I believe it's this Friday coming up that a lot of the games kick off, correct?
Yeah, you're going to get some early games
Yeah,
coming.
I think so.
Really? I thought it was
Sometimes it's Labor Day
weekend.
Which is next weekend, isn't it?
I thought that was the weekend after.
Oh,
that.
yeah, I'm ahead. I'm sorry, because Lorna goes back to school on Monday, so I'm a little off. But anyway.
Well, New Mexico plays August 31st. August
So
29th.
nonetheless, we got about 2 weeks. So
Yeah.
we want to take some time and go through it. Now, what I found, and I was telling Steve and BB before the hand, I found like a preseason top 25, and I figured we just kind of go through. We'll start at the bottom, work our way to the top, kind of this guy's list. Apparently, the real list doesn't come out till the 19th or something. I was reading the article, and it was saying, so I figured we'd just kind of check this out as we went through. So, like I said, beginning at the bottom, they've got Boise State at 25. They're going to end up with like 9, 10, 11 wins, something kooky. Because
they're not as good as they once were. Their coach is Washington now.
But I'm just saying, like, somehow they do really well because they play shit competition, and then they always end up really good. And everyone's like, well, what about Boise State? No one cares.
Yeah, they'll end up in a bowl against some decent team.
Then they go from Boise State, they bring up Northwestern because they want to love this team. It's that Big Ten Midwest shit.
Who was in the championship game last year against Ohio State? Was it Northwestern?
Yeah.
I don't care. I mean, at some point, they play the shitty side of the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And everyone wants Pat Fitzgerald, who's the head coach, if I'm not mistaken, is the guy's name.
Yeah.
They want him to be this national darling, and I'm just not into it.
Well, he was one of the stars of the team in the mid-90s that won the Rose Bowl.
Which is fine.
So that's why he's so
But
popular.
why he's getting such love nationally is driving everyone's like, oh, Northwestern's so good. Anytime I watched them, they got smoked. I'm telling you.
You have to look at this stuff with different. I mean, you can't look at Northwestern and expectations for Northwestern the same way that you look at expectations for, say, Ohio State or even Michigan or Michigan State or Wisconsin. I mean, top 25 for them is pretty good, but that's probably close to the ceiling for them. That's about as high as they're going to get.
I got no love for it. I just hate the Big Ten, man.
Well,
Big Ten hatred.
I know you hate this one, but the next one is the one I hate because they always.
Okay, so
blow
here's
this team.
another one. So we're going from, in my eyes, an overrated Northwestern into Steve's eyes. At number 23, they have Missouri.
They always have some stupid quarterback you're supposed to hear about.
And they hype up a game. They hype up an SEC game.
And I watch them, and they
get
get destroyed by LSU or Alabama, and it's like, shut up about Missouri.
To the point, though, they've got the Kelly Bryant guy from Clemson with all the drama when they put in Sunshine and all this crap.
Yeah, and Alabama walking and drop 50 on them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, the only thing that they took with them to the SEC was their name and whatever. They left everything, but basically they brought all the Big 12 stuff with them. They can score but can't play defense. I mean, they'd probably be competitive in the Big 12 because they play Big 12 football, but they basically run up a nice record against a bunch of scrub teams early on, and then when they face the meat of their schedule, it all falls apart.
And then all of a sudden CBS is there, and then College Game Day is there, and they're blowing it all up. And then to Steve's point, we'll tune in and go, "What am I missing here?"
Was it Chase Daniels, one of the quarterbacks? I heard about him for years. Did nothing. Went to the pros. Did nothing. Shut up with Chase Daniels.
This next one just blows me away because this team Michigan State was terrible last year.
Yeah, and he didn't fire any of his offensive coaches.
No changes. He's still playing 1980s Big Ten football. So
they're going to score 3 points a game again.
22.
They're going to lose 9-6 every game.
Dude, they got Michigan State at 22. Me and Steve don't get it. We live in Michigan. We fight. I got a Big Ten hatred, man. I really do.
Ask Mike Valenti on this one because that's his team, and he will tear them up for months.
Because it's so.
Read what?
Read the reasoning for. I mean, the last sentence says all you need to know about how ridiculous it is. A healthy Brian Lewerke makes all the difference.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's garbage, healthy.
Yeah, he was healthy last year, and they were terrible.
Yeah, let's just put it this way. I can understand I think Northwestern's more legitimate here than Michigan State is.
Yeah, and then they go from Michigan State into Tech or Virginia Tech at 21. That's another team that had a pretty rough outing in 2018.
Yeah.
You know, you saw like they had a lot of national hopes, and then they dropped a few flounders in there late in the year. Like,
didn't they lose to like a Morgan State or something? They lost
something
Something
rogue.
like Old Dominion.
Yeah, they lost to Old Dominion's right there on a blowout defeat. They lose to some weird teams out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They've been reeling ever since that guy with the weird face retired, the coach.
Since weird face left.
He had like the
It's
big
been
bloated
all
neck on
downhill.
something with the one side of his neck like stuck out real far.
Yeah, so I mean, college
Took
is
his
all-
weird face on.
Yeah, he retired, and that team has just been struggling ever since.
And here's another crazy Big Ten thing. We've got Nebraska at 20.
Well, I don't know why they're ranked 20th. They should be outside
Dude,
the
they
top
were
25.
terrible.
They won like 3 games last year. They were 1-5.
What is this list? I'm on NC2A.com with this list.
I don't know where you found these people.
Scott Frost is the new Pat Fitzgerald.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He
Is
won
that
the
vote?
Heisman, you know, and
Well, there's a lot of coaches in the Big Ten West
he didn't win the Heisman.
that are like Pat. It's Pat Fitzgerald, Scott Frost, the PJ Fleck. They're dying for all these young coaches to do
To just be
something.
amazing.
And
Yeah. What do they wanted to be Sean McVay out of L.A.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff
they're
like that.
dying, but it's just not
They
happening.
need the Wonderkins. They need the
Yeah.
next generation. Then we go into the world's most annoying universities.
But they are scrappy.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
The UCF, what are they,
scrappy.
Buffalo? I forget
Oh,
what they
God,
are.
if I got to hear about this bullshit again. Who have you played?
Yeah.
We're going to talk later. My boy Jimbo is about to play the craziest schedule on
He's about to
planet
drop 6
Earth.
losses.
Dude, it is the
Oh.
craziest schedule. And then you get UCF, who, look how undefeated they are. They've played no one, sir. No one.
Yes.
I don't buy them as legitimate either. But in fairness, they're not being a large program. They have to get teams to be willing to play them, and all that's ever said about them is that they put out offers to play against big conference teams, and the big
avoid them.
conference teams won't put them on the schedule because it's too risky.
I don't know. I that sounds like some hyperbole bullshit. I'm not buying it. I don't care.
Either way, I mean, it's all. When they went to the playoff system, they essentially just ended it for any of these small. It was one thing when Boise State could get to a major bowl game and they could make some argument that, hey, we really should be number one, even though realistically you wouldn't beat 7 of the top 10 teams. There is almost the only conference, non-big conference team that can make the playoff is Notre Dame.
And
Because
how well
of
did
who
that
they
work
are.
out last
Yeah.
year?
UCF would have to go undefeated. First of all, if one of these teams don't go undefeated, they have 0 chance of ever making a playoff. But they have to not only go undefeated, they have to have the right teams on their schedule and beat them too.
They have Stanford.
They might make a powers or whatever, what Big 6 bowl games or something. They might play in some game against like a Syracuse or something. But this whole talk about these non-Power 5 conference teams going.
I just don't care. Let me
just
cut
end it.
BV off. Fuck these small teams.
End it.
Stop it. Go to the big conferences. It's college football in America.
Yeah.
Shut up. I
Yeah.
don't care about your little bullshit school.
We
Can
agree.
we just stop? Yeah, great. They're huge in Central Florida. Who gives a shit outside of there?
Well, you'll know by mid-September because they're going to play Stanford. If Stanford pounds them, then we don't have to worry about it.
Yeah, but then what Stanford team is this year? You know what I
It's
mean?
average.
I
And
don't
if they
know,
beat
man.
Stanford, then it'll all
They'll
ramp
start-
up again, and you'll have to listen to it the rest of the year.
They'll start
I just
creeping
don't
out.
care. To play in a real fucking conference. I don't care for you. No. I'm sorry. I got no love for that. I hate that. Then we go into another Big Ten school. We got to wave to the kids at the third quarter in Iowa.
You know what's weird in this book?
God,
Kirk Ferentz has been there 20 years.
who gives a shit too?
I just couldn't believe he's been there 20 years.
He plays on the shitty side of the Big Ten too.
And he
So
struggles,
basically,
too.
half of the shitty side of the Big Ten,
is in the top
with
25.
Yeah.
25 and 15 or 14.
I just got no
and
love for
they're
this
the only
conference.
2 teams that actually matter.
Are
I'm
in-
sure if Wiggs were here, he'd crucify me. Like, oh, how dare you? Look at this. Do. And every time Iowa gets on the big stage, they get fucking mollywopped. All right? And again, I'm a Notre Dame fan. I got no argument here, but we got a national contract with NBC. All right? What do you want me to tell you?
Iowa does pull out some wins in the bowl games, though.
Great.
I'm just saying.
Let's wave to the
okay,
kids.
there's
They're
a
never
14
a playoff contender, but they do win some bowl games here and there.
So
So
you're
there's
telling
a
me
4-team race to have the honor of getting the living shit kicked out of them in the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, I
pretty
just I
much.
don't get it.
This is what it
I
is.
hate it. Then we go on to now we're getting to some football that we go into Auburn. They got 17 for Auburn.
Every year it seems like the coach of this team is on the hot seat. Every year.
What's his name, BB?
Coach Malzahn.
Malzahn.
Yeah, Gus. Yeah.
He always on the hot seat. I've never seen a coach on the hot seat more than the coach of Auburn.
He's the hottest of hot seats.
He'll be on the hot seat, win a national title. Then he's off the hot seat. Then he'll win 2 4-win seasons. Oh, he's on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Am I wrong, Bill?
No, that's pretty much it.
He's on the hot seat this year.
They only so according to this article,
They went 8-5 last year.
8-5. So he's on the hot seat.
He's on the hot seat. The only guy who was on the hot seat more than him was Les Miles, and Les Miles finally did get
Yeah,
popped.
I was gonna say, so Les Miles is in Kansas
Yeah,
now?
he's in
Is that
Kansas.
where he is at? Eating the
think
grass?
so.
That would be an improvement for them, but what is Kansas?
So we
football?
leave Auburn at 17. We head back into the Big Ten at 16
On the
in
west side
Wisconsin. I don't mind Wisconsin.
Wisconsin should win the West.
Wisconsin is a
But they
decent
struggled
squad.
last year. They lost a lot of games they weren't supposed to win.
Okay,
Or-
but
or-
I'm going to
wait
give you
not to.
Wisconsin. I'm just not giving you all the other 8 teams they put in here.
yeah, okay. Wisconsin's fine. And Wisconsin does tend to win a lot of bowl games, too. So,
And now this next team, BV, you got to fill in the blanks here. I don't know much about the Fighting Mormons of Utah at 15.
well, I know they're in the Pac-12 now.
I'm just saying, but
Well,
like,
they were in the Pac-12 championship game last year. The Pac, I don't know exactly what they call the divisions there, but essentially the southern, I think it's Pacific, and the southern portion of the Pac-12 is basically a bunch of shitballs at this point. So you have basically Oregon, Washington, and Stanford, and the other side of it are pretty much the dominant teams.
Yeah.
So they may make the championship game in the conference, but they probably won't be favored to really do anything beyond that.
And they got a lot of Samoans.
yeah, it's one of those teams that you'll look up and they'll have 8-1, and you're like, oh, geez,
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? Or that you'll look at them and they'll be 4-5. It's the weirdest
Probably
thing.
the Pac-12 is where we live. So, most of their games are on at 9, 10 o'clock at night. No one ever. When's the last time you really watched a major Pac-12
well,
game?
they signed a big deal with Fox. A lot of Pac-12 games on Fox.
So you need to play them
But to
early.
the point, to BV's point, I see a lot of Oregons.
Yeah.
I see a lot of Washington, who we're going to talk about here in a second. I see a lot of Washington stuff, but Utah's one of those weird teams that, like, all of a sudden they're like really good. And you're like, what? I don't know.
Yeah,
I
where'd
know.
they come from? Who's
Yeah.
paying
I
attention?
don't know if it's them so much it is that the conference is really, really mediocre.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like I just alluded to, so 14 they pull up, they put Washington at 14.
And this is your Boise State coach there, and
Yeah.
they've been playing pretty good for him. Problem with them is as soon as they get near the end, that's where they fall apart. Didn't they make the playoffs? I thought they did. Yeah, they made the playoffs. A couple years back, I think. They got thumped, but they made the playoffs. Yeah. So Washington and Oregon are the top 2 in the Pac-12. USC wants to be, but they're nowhere close.
So we leave Washington, and all of us kind of look at each other with crickets because we don't know much about Washington. And then we go into number 13 is Penn State. If I'm honest, I like Penn State with the Big Ten. I don't know if you guys have an opinion.
They lost a
I
lot
think
of
that
players.
But they play good football.
They finally, McSorley's
I think
finally
that
done.
coach is what's his name, Rich Franklin, the coach. That's
Yeah,
is
yeah.
really good.
They have a habit of choking on the road in big games, though. I think they have to go. Do they have to go to Ann Arbor? I think they have to go to Ann Arbor this year, or Ohio State, one of the two.
That's the problem because they're on the on
good
east
side of the Big Ten.
They kind of have to run the gauntlet to.
If they're on the
get
west
through.
side of the Big Ten, they probably win the West almost every year.
Well,
But location and stuff says you got to go to the East. So, yeah.
So then we leave Penn State at 13, which again I had no. And we go into 12. Oregon. It's another.
This is a
Pac-12.
lot of people's dark horse for a national champion.
Really?
A run in playoffs. A lot of people like Oregon.
What's
this year.
the quarterback that everyone loves out of Oregon?
Justin Herbert.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they
He's a
love that
Heisman.
guy.
and that's why they're the dark horse pick for everybody.
Yeah, and the offensive line's supposed to be pretty solid. So a lot of people are high on Oregon this year.
Then we roll from Oregon into my boys. BV hates them, and I love them for it. Number 11, Texas A&M. This has got to be a preseason rank because I'm telling you, their schedule is insane. It's the toughest schedule in the country. I don't know.
How many losses you think they're going to have?
Dude, they're going to have like 6 losses. There's no way. This is the craziest shit I've ever seen. Like, they play Clemson early. They got Bama, LSU, Georgia. I mean, it's just the gauntlet of SEC. They play a couple penitentiary teams in there like every SEC team does, but this is crazy.
They could still be the 11th best team in the country.
It's the craziest schedule. If you think I'm bullshit, just look it up. I read a Yahoo article, and I'm just like, who booked this? Like, who on there?
They're screwed.
Yeah, and then we roll from Texas A&M to me and Steve's number 1 squad in Notre Dame at 10.
I am book. They're missing a lot of the center of the defense. Lost a lot of linebackers, lost a lot of defensive tackles, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Offensive line is 4 returners out of the 5. That's not bad. All receivers, they seem to find receivers all the time, so I'm not worried about that. The question mark a little bit at running back. Secondary is a lot of seniors, so secondary should be pretty solid. And there's 2 defensive ends that are seniors, so that should be pretty solid.
Looking at this, though, too, is this article even alludes to it. They're at Michigan, at Duke,
I'm not worried
at Georgia.
Yeah, at Georgia.
Not worried about the Duke, but I think they're probably going to lose to Georgia, and Michigan's 50.
That's a tough schedule, too. Back to my Texas A&M theory. Both of my squads got some hella schedules coming up.
Notre Dame's schedule ain't as tough as Texas A&M's. They got USC at home. They got Virginia at home. I mean, Virginia's nothing. Virginia Tech that you've already crapped on, Boston College, Navy. So it's not quite as hard as Texas A&M.
Now, we're going to leave our squad in the Golden Dome. We're going to head down to number 9, Texas. This is another thing like Pat Fitzgerald. The country wants Texas to be good.
They won a big bowl game last year. Who'd they beat in the bowl game? I can't remember.
You got that,
Georgia?
baby?
Yeah, it was Georgia.
But they want. They just. This is like the sleeping giant of all things college football.
A lot of people are picking them to win the Big 12 this year.
Yeah, because Oklahoma's got to break in the quarterback and stuff like that. So a lot of people like Texas this year, and especially after that big bowl game. That's the number one thing.
Do you think there's a lot of carryover though in college football? Be honest.
No.
There's not. So I'm just saying, let's be honest. Our squad went undefeated last year. I'm not optimistic for 2019. It's not like, you know what I mean? Hey, undefeated year, we're going to really carry that momentum. Yeah. Had a bit of a break at the college playoff. You know what I mean? I don't know if that momentum necessarily translates.
Sometimes it does, because if you look at Clemson, they got close, and they went back and won, and then they lost, and they went back and won again. So
I think you're dispelling how much talent is on Clemson's
Well, maybe if you bring back all your starters. Yeah. If you're basically, you 20 or 24 starters are back or something, but...
Now, so we're going to leave Texas at 9, rolling right into Florida at 8.
This seems high.
This seems high to you? I was going to say it seems like another team that they really want to be higher than they are.
Didn't Michigan beat them in the beginning of the season last year? I thought they did.
These guys are they're just enough to beat subpar teams, and every time they're back to being one of these teams. Every time they step up against a real team, they get stomped.
Yeah, it seems it. They're a little bit like Tennessee, but a little better. That's about it.
Yeah, but they're falling back into that Tennessee area where and then they haven't been up at the elite since Tebow left, basically.
Yeah, they're dying for another.
So if you're talking about momentum carries, they went 10-3 last year. So
yeah, one of their losses was Michigan. I'm pretty sure.
That's crazy. So then you leave Florida at 8. You head to LSU at 7. People love LSU right now.
I don't know why you can't understand his coach. Coach is the guy from the Water Boy.
It's because
of course, Orgeron, man.
But they picked up that Joe Brady guys who they've been blowing.
Farmer Fran.
It's supposed to be some
That's another thing I was going to talk about. There is so many transfers to keep track of now.
Wow.
It's almost like NFL.
No, this
free
wasn't a
agency.
transfer. This was the Saints' offensive assistant supposed to go.
Yeah.
Well,
and they were supposed to correct the struggling offense.
Yeah, but their quarterback was a transfer last
year. Yeah, he's a transfer from Ohio State.
Yeah, that's what it was. Yeah. And he sucked every time I watched him.
and he probably still will.
OSU was not wrong letting him go.
So then you leave LSU at 7, which we're both not really that into, or all three of us aren't. Into 6, Michigan. As Steve rolls his eyes, I agree, but I don't know how you put him any lower than that.
This is the Lindy Sports College Football. It's a national book. They goddamn love Sean Patterson. Everyone.
It's tough.
Did they
Shane
watch
Patterson? You mean
Patterson? Whatever. The shit Patterson. They had no offense
because they're going to beat everything from LSU. I mean,
he's a dark horse Heisman candidate.
Yes, they are blowing the hell out of this guy.
I don't know.
gotta
Let me
do
ask
all-
the
Sucked at Ole
question.
Miss. He sucks at Michigan. He just flat out sucks.
Do you guys think that if Harbaugh doesn't right the ship this year, he's on the hot seat with Gus Malzahn?
He's on the hot
Sure
seat,
as
but
hell
they
should
don't
be.
have the balls to fire him.
You don't think so?
No, they won't
BV,
fire
you
him.
got any opinion?
He probably won't be, but he should be.
Oh, wow. Okay.
If he drops,
Well, I mean, you don't bring Jim Harbaugh in there to be every other Michigan team that can never beat Ohio State.
Yeah.
if he goes 10-3 and his 3 losses are Notre Dame, Ohio State, and Michigan State, they should just let him go.
How
we
is
agree to
Michigan now
part
looking at this
ways
and thinking
Yeah,
Brady Hoke could have done this.
yeah. So,
without a headset on.
yes, and clapping.
So all of us roll our eyes at Michigan 6. I really don't know how you put them any lower. Unfortunately, you just can't. That's the sad part. Number 5, Oklahoma.
They lost a lot with their quarterback and stuff, but they seem to get the
got
one-year
Jalen
wonders for
Hurts,
these
though.
quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts lost his.
I'm
Because
sorry.
BB's
How many
because
national championships do you guys have that play Notre Dame?
Here we
He at
go.
least has a national title. So
Yeah, because it was him. That's the reason they won.
Yeah.
Won our defensive running game. It was Jalen Hurts.
So much so they just let him go.
Yeah, I know. He's so great. Hey,
Yeah.
buddy, you want to go to Oklahoma? See you later.
Yeah. We got another
you
dude.
can't stop him from transferring.
Yeah, but they were just like,
Yeah.
we'll see you, buddy.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Oh,
got a
you
choice.
lost your job to a freshman. It's half Samoan or whatever this
Yeah.
guy. Tunga Hunga Funga Hunga or whatever his name is. He's so great. That remind me how great he is again.
He's still better than 90% of the quarterbacks in college.
All right, so aside from this heated conversation about Jalen Hurts, we roll out of Oklahoma into number 4, Georgia. Another team like Michigan, I don't know how you put them much lower.
Yeah, they're good.
It's tough. They're really good. I mean, there's no. Now
Now they don't have a backup really, and that Fromm guy, if he gets hurt, Georgia's screwed because their backup went to OSU.
Yeah, well. And so then to Steve's point, you roll out of Georgia, then you go to Columbus for number 3 in Ohio State. I got to tell you, though, the one thing that people they're not talking enough about is the change at head coach at Ohio State.
Yeah.
That's a whole philosophy change. I just think that there's got to be a bump in the road, is my opinion.
Yeah, well, you're breaking in a new quarterback, new coach, new coordinators, everything else. So if this is the year Michigan's going to beat them,
And I also
they
think
better do it.
that Urban Meyer looms weirdly too, with his he doesn't want to retire completely, and I think that's going to lead itself. I'm not saying Ohio State's going to shit the bed this year. That's not my opinion. You know what I mean? You're crazy if you think that, but all I'm saying is people already have them going to the playoff, and it's I think that there's going to be some hiccups.
I think the Big Ten's going to cancel themselves out, and they're going to miss the playoffs again.
Yeah,
I think, yeah.
BV, you got any opinion?
I could kind of see it going both ways. I'm not convinced. I mean, we saw a fair amount of this Justin Fields at playing in spots in Georgia, and I'm not convinced he's as good as people seem to think he is. And then, like you said, I mean, bringing in the new coach, it'll probably still be enough to win the Big Ten. The question is whether or not it's enough to make the playoff.
It's enough nationally to do what you need to do.
Well, but I mean, if they go 11-1,
when's
and
that
you look-
loss would be my question. Is that loss
Well, yeah,
early
but-
in the year? Or is that loss late? Because that's always a factor. No, one of the things that drives me nuts about college football, you could shit the bed week 1 or 2, and then all of a sudden you're the man late in the year. But God forbid you stumble late, they'll kick your ass to the curb, dude. They don't care.
well, the natural spot for them to shit the bed is a Penn State game, and that's always.
Yeah. Penn State or Iowa. Doesn't Iowa kind of pop them from time to time? Or is that Michigan that gets popped? Someone gets popped by Iowa all the time.
kids
It's
wave
either-
down,
Yeah,
and
it's
it's
either
all
Michigan
done.
or Ohio State. I can't remember which.
But with the strength of the Big Ten, I mean, for all the teams that apparently, I'm with you. I don't buy it either, but they seem to be considered to be a pretty strong conference now. If they do go 11-1 and still win the conference, they probably still make the playoff, and then they get spanked by either Clemson or Alabama.
I gotta tell you. So we're gonna leave Ohio State. We're gonna go to number 2 Bama. We're gonna skip over that because I don't want to listen to BV. Then we're gonna go to number 1. I'm just talking shit. And then we're gonna go to Clemson. I gotta tell you, they're by
probably
far the best 2 teams in the country.
Yeah.
It's What do you do, folks? I don't know. It's college football.
I mean, everyone's got a puncher's chance, and Ohio State might pull it off here or there. Someone else might sneak in, Georgia, whatever. But you don't see it.
So what is the early word on that Roll Tide football, BB? How do you feel about the year? Do you think that like the Clemson actually dropping them one? Do you think that that's a big deal? What's your opinion?
Well, I think Clemson still has to be the favorite. I mean, a lot of the championship game last year kind of spoke for itself. I'm a little uncertain with Alabama. Their defense was exposed a little bit last year, and they did lose more key players. So how quickly how well the defense gels, and maybe Clemson's offense is just so good that it's not going to matter.
But out of all the universities, though, when you talk about losing players, Alabama's got 5 stars backing up 5 stars backing up 5 stars. It's the craziest thing ever. So
that's true.
That formula can apply to a Northwestern or to a Washington.
Well, but they didn't have. I mean, one of the problems last year is they didn't have enough depth on defense. So they had good players in the front end, but Clemson will run so many plays when they start running, speed. And if you don't have a full, if you're not deep enough to run rotation against them, you're still going to get screwed. I mean, I think it looks. I mean, if I were to say right now what I think is going to happen, I think they end up playing again for the title, and I think it's probably a pick'em game.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not going either way. Clemson looks so goddamn good. Steve, you got an opinion?
Clemson wins.
you want to take a moment to
He'd
ponder
say
that?
Either way, but
No, I've seen Clemson's schedule. I mean, besides Texas A&M, they don't got much.
Yeah.
ACC's got a lot of garbage right now.
Yeah.
So they're going to cruise all season. Alabama is going to cruise through most of the SEC, but they'll struggle a little against LSU, maybe a little.
There's always those late year scares.
The Auburn with Gus Malzahn on the hot seat.
I could see Bama having a slip-up game where they,
they may not lose, but they're going to struggle a little more. Where Clemson's up by 50 at half, and they're doing Al Bundy. I never played the second half. So I don't know. I think Clemson's going to roll easy, and so that might help them a little bit when it falls.
If either one of them's quarterback gets hurt, they're screwed.
Yeah. Well, the Bama's got Jalen Hurts to fall. Oh wait.
No, they don't. They have they've got
Steve was just poking the bear.
They have 4- and 5-star quarterback recruits, and half of them end up transferring in their first or second year because they end up being garbage. I can't remember the guy's name that plays behind Tagovailoa, but he's
a Tagovailoa. That's the backup guy.
So let's go through real quick. ACC, you think, Steve, it's Clemson's
easily.
Clemson show. SEC, who you got there, Steve? You got any
Alabama and Georgia in the title, and Alabama
so we're feeling a lot of repeats, is what we're saying.
Yeah,
really BV, you got anything different? Feel free to chime in.
Not there, no.
You got anything different in the Pac-12? What are we thinking there?
Probably Oregon over Washington, but it's those two probably running neck and neck all season. I think Stanford's going to step down a little bit. They lost a lot of players.
I like David Shaw.
They weren't all that hot last year either, so they.
BV, what do you got for the Pac-12?
I think I would probably Oregon.
Yeah. Okay, now here comes the big one. What does the Big Ten look like this year?
It's gonna come down to that fucking greatest rivalry in history again.
Yeah.
And fucking Harbaugh's gonna lose again by 40.
Put him on the Malzahn hot seat. That's the official term.
Even if Michigan pulls it out and beats Notre Dame, it's possible. It's in Michigan. Okay, so all right. So they'll probably roll in there undefeated. And Ohio State will roll in there.
The Michigan State game's not going to matter this year. Michigan State's
garbage. They're falling apart. They didn't even try to refix their offense. They're fucking retarded. And then Ohio State's just going to drop 70 on them or whatever.
Where's the game this year? Ann Arbor or Columbus? Do we know?
I don't know.
Okay, we'll fact check that. BV, you got anything different on the Big Ten? You got any other opinions there?
I think Ohio State might lose a game, but it won't be against Michigan, and so.
You're speculating that weird Penn State dropper in there,
maybe some random game.
It's in Ann Arbor. So if Ohio State walks in with a new quarterback, new coach, and beats their ass in Ann Arbor late in the season with the season on the line,
Steve wants Malzahn hot seat.
Yes, there's no way Harbaugh shouldn't be at least talked to. But listen, buddy, you're 0-17 against Ohio State. But anyways,
all right. So then we leave.
Which Michigan coach was it that couldn't beat John Cooper?
I don't know. No, they beat John Cooper easily. It was Tressel they couldn't beat.
because of the
I thought one of them had a hard time beating Cooper too. But anyway,
I don't know.
All right, so we're gonna leave the Big Ten. Steve thinks it's crazy. We're going to the Big 12. Who you got there, BV? Who you got that?
I'm sticking with Oklahoma.
Because his homeboys on the team. Fuck them, Texas.
No, because Texas is always-
Hook 'em horns,
Get the
Steve.
overrated.
Let's go Horns.
Oh man. So then, let me ask the question going around the room here then too. Steve, you got any kind of like surprises for the 2019 year? I mean,
UCF, just to screw with you.
oh, God, these small schools. I fucking hate them. I just do. I can't begin.
I don't think. I mean, there's always gonna be that one small school's gonna be in like the top 7 that's gone undefeated, and UCF seems to be the one primed to do that this year.
So go on the record. You want a small school to cause trouble.
They do every year. I don't have to
just
go on the record
annoying.
about it. It happens every year.
So what's your opinion?
Because then everyone starts bitching. Go to 8 teams. So
We
let it
need to
get
look
in.
back at this episode and go, Steve was so far off base with this.
Oh,
Give
they
me
probably-
something.
A team that's going to surprise everyone this year is going to be pretty tough to beat. I'm going to go with Syracuse. It's not super
Syracuse,
They
okay.
were pretty solid last year.
Yeah, they
won
gave
their
people
bowl
fits.
game.
Yeah.
I think that's a good coach there. I think Syracuse is on the rise a little bit. I like Syracuse
Okay.
to win some.
That's
And
a little
maybe
rogue.
play Clemson in the title game and get smoked. But I like Syracuse a little bit.
All right,
this year.
BV, give me something. Give me a good soundbite we can look back at and laugh our ass off.
I'm actually going to go the same conference he is, except instead of Syracuse, I'm going to say Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Virginia wins the other side and ends up playing in the championship game and gets the living crap beat out of them by Clemson.
Yeah.
And I'm going to take a little bit of a different tone. I'm going to go the opposite way, and someone's going to be a complete boat anchor, and that's going to be LSU. I think that LSU is just going to be completely abysmal this year and can't get the shit together, is my opinion. So watch them go undefeated, and I want no shit.
How
So-
many face masks is Jimbo Fisher going to grab this year?
I love
As he's
Jimbo.
losing in 7
Don't
games.
you? God, dude, they're going to get so small. That schedule is brutal. I was just like, wow, man, it's hard for me to root for them boys. They going to get smoked, son. But I'm just calling it right now. I think LSU is going to have a terrible year, and everyone's not going to know what to do, is my opinion. So
Yeah.
that's how we feel about this. We're gonna
I
look
like
back
Syracuse.
on this.
Bill likes
Virginia to do really well.
Even though Virginia's going to lose to Notre Dame because we almost got tickets there.
Yeah,
We didn't get tickets there. And then
I think LSU's going to be a
LSU's going to
stinker.
crap to bed,
Yeah.
and Orgeron's going to be out of a job by the end of the
Yeah.
season.
And then now let's
And
go around
Harbaugh
the
should
room.
be on the hot seat by
Yeah.
the end of this year.
So does Gus Malzahn get fired at the end of the year, Steve?
No, he's going to pull out a miracle season.
Okay, we got Gus Malzahn still. BV, Gus Malzahn. Does he have a job in 2020? Yes or no?
No, he's out.
Oh, man. I have no clue. So I'm
He's
just
the
gonna
Rasputin of college. They've been trying to fire him for 10
the
years.
hottest of hot seats is
Yeah, I
the
know.
Malzahn hot seat.
Yes. Who's on the Molzon hot seat this week?
We could probably sponsor that.
Now we're going to go. We left the college. R.I.P. Keith Jackson. And now we're headed to the NFL with boring-ass Joe Buck and Rob Riggle. He does the Fox.
Ironically enough. So, and like I was talking about it with Steve earlier, kind of the same vein. I figured we kind of go through the conferences or the individual divisions rather, and kind of discuss people's records going out of 2018 and see if we think there's going to be some jockeying in that 2019 spot. We'll definitely we'll bring up whether or not who's going to sink, who's going to suck, and all that kind of stuff. So let's talk about the AFC East first. Them Patriots went 11-5. Obviously, I don't
Them
have to tell
Patriots are going to go 12-4.
Patriots 12-5. The Dolphins went 7-9. BV's attaching a boat anchor to them.
Yeah, well, they got Josh Rosen as a quarterback.
Yeah, Buffalo Bills at 6-10, and them Jets at 4-12.
Now, the two in this division everyone likes is Jets and Buffalo.
The Jets. People are
Outside-
just talking all about the Jets.
But the Jets have a history of crap in the bed, so
Yes.
maybe we might want to watch Buffalo sneak in. Maybe.
Okay, so
Maybe
you think
with a
That's my
9-7
squad,
record?
but they're not good.
A lot of people are high on them on
so?
the
You
radio.
think
I
Buffalo's a
don't know
little
why.
squeaker? BV, you got any
Well,
opinion?
squeaker beat
I think you
8-8.
can
I don't
flip
know.
flop the Jets and Miami here, and that's pretty much what you're looking at.
Okay, so basically, you expect to see the Le'Veon addition in New York, and then the change of quarterback there actually makes some.
I don't
move.
believe in Sam.
I think they're
Howell.
going
That
in the
guy's
right
terrible.
direction. But
Okay.
I've never seen him do anything
You could
besides
take
piss
the
on the
rosters of
Lions.
all three of those teams, put them together, and they'd still lose to the Patriots.
So we don't think there's much of a change at the top. Tom Brady's 174 years old.
Signed a 3-year extension.
It's crazy. He'll play to his 45. Is that what we're saying?
40. Well, 44.
He says he's
42.
going to play till he's 45.
Yeah.
Jeez, man, that is crazy.
I'm not trying
Testaverde
to predict the Patriots' demise here, so don't try to pull
Because
this
Bill
on me.
predicts it every
Oh,
year.
wow.
But but you will. I
He's
think you
wrong
will
every year.
see um, a significant reduction in firepower on offense without Gronkowski.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
But
think
they played
I
half
think
the
they will
season
have
without
many
him
more
last
struggles
year.
than you're used to seeing. They'll figure out a way to still win a boatload of games, but
Yeah, I mean, you got
he
you got
made a
6 wins
real
right in
big
the
difference in
division.
that offense.
Yeah. I'm not talking shit about the Patriots because all you do is eat them goddamn words. I
Yeah.
hate
Yeah,
that
no,
team.
I mean, they'll still probably go 12-4.
Yeah.
All right, so we're
But
going to
they'll only
leave
win
that.
like 20-17.
So the only mover out of that division, I think, as we agree, is going to be the Jets. Or Steve's going on a limb a little bit and saying Buffalo's going to make a little move.
Yeah, Buffalo will be 2.
Okay.
I hope you're right.
I think Miami's going to be the bottom. We all agree Miami's going to be
Yeah,
trash.
I don't know much about Miami, but
They may be the worst team
BB
in
is
football.
attaching a boat anchor to him, sending him to the bottom, baby. All right, so then we leave there. We go to the AFC North, my squad's division. Baltimore won it at 10-6. My squad was 9-6-1. Cleveland 7-8-1. I predicted they were going to do better last year.
Yeah, you did.
And then 6-10, and then Bengals. Steve, who you got? What you got?
I'm
moving?
telling you right now, Baltimore is only going to be 6-10.
Yeah,
That quarterback is terrible.
he is. But
I don't know what they see.
Yeah,
I don't know what they're going to do. I mean, they're just going to run 99%. I appreciate that. But
I respect it.
with
Appreciate
60 yards passing, again, he's terrible.
Yeah.
The Bengals are going to be the bottom because they're rebuilding. They got everything. They don't know what they're going to do with Andy Dalton. That team, all they got is Geno. What's his defensive tackle, Bill, on the Bengals?
Geno Atkins?
Got Geno Atkins and 10 bums. And Burkett, he's on the Raiders.
Perfect's on the Raiders.
Yeah. So Bengals at the bottom. The Ravens right above them. I'm going to say Cleveland third or second because everyone's just jumping on that. And I'm not. It's still Cleveland. All right.
Yeah.
Let's not jump on that bandwagon yet. Maybe they're 9-7. That's an improvement over last year. They're moving in the right direction. And I still think the Steelers probably win this division.
Now, real quick, do you guys think that with less locker room drama allegedly at Pittsburgh and all this kind of stuff, I just don't think Juju Smith-Schuster is an exact replacement. Plus, Ben Roethlisberger's getting old, man. I don't know.
He's been acting flaky about retirement, not retirement. I don't
Pick
know what's
away
going on
when
there.
your head. We talked about it with Cormier. We'll talk about it a little later. I don't like when your head's not where you need it to be.
And then all their talent did drop a little bit, not a ton, but Juju Smith-Schuster's not as crazy as crazy guy on the West Coast, but crazy guy on the West Coast is pretty damn good.
Dude.
And Le'Veon Bell was pretty fucking good too.
Yeah,
And
but I mean, but
Connor's
you can make the
okay.
argument that you know what I mean. Like
It really
they-
comes down to their offensive line, really.
BB, you got
and
any
their defense
opinions?
still kind of sucks.
yeah, on that AFC North.
I think I mean the Steelers are declining, but I think the love is a little bit too strong here on Cleveland. Let's see it more than a little bit longer first.
Yeah, it's like all the high hope on the Michigan offense, and it's like why? And then there's a ton of high hope on the Cleveland offense.
Yeah,
it's like, none of us have seen it really do anything yet.
They're
What have
going
you
in the
done
right
for me
direction,
lately,
but
kinda?
let's not crown them just yet. I agree and what I've heard with Baltimore is that they showed up at training camp or something and just dropped a brand new playbook on Lamar Jackson. So I think they could probably collapse pretty quickly. I think the Steelers win the division with like 9-7, 10-6,
And they're the only one to get out of it. Yeah.
I think Cleveland could be a wild card team.
Yeah, it's possible.
Okay.
But yeah, Lamar Jackson's terrible.
He's hard to.
It's like let's have a really shitty.
Because
Michael
what they
Vick.
shipped Flacco to Denver, right?
Yeah.
It's oof.
Yeah, they don't have receiving weapons. Unless they're going to try to do what Arizona's trying to do with the offense,
Arizona's
it just doesn't make a whole lot of
Arizona's
sense.
my worst team in the league. I watched them. I was like, what are they doing? I can't. That guy's 4'2". He don't know what's they're playing college ball. We'll talk about them in a bit. But,
Robert Griffin III. That's all I'm saying.
oh my God! So then,
guys like that run don't last long,
dude, and he's Robert Griffin III was at least a little tall. Oh, okay, anyway. So we leave
South.
the AFC North and we're going to head south into AFC South. Here.
Now, this is one of those divisions where there's always a new team that wins this division, it seems like, every year.
Andrew
Since
Luck
Peyton Manning left.
is hurt again. Did you guys see that?
Did he
Like,
really break his dick this
it's
time?
just an I think it's just precaution. I think it's his ankle.
That guy is made out of glass, dude. They got two people. There's two superstars in this division made out of glass.
Yeah,
all
the
right?
Houston Texans, that whole team's made out of glass.
I'm just
The
telling
quarterback's been out.
Dude,
Both their
it's-
defensive ends go out. I don't believe in the Texans. The Texans, if they can stay healthy for 6 weeks, I'm amazed. So I never liked them. They kind of squeaked their way into like winning the division a lot of times.
Yeah. So let's go through the 2018 real quick before Steve breaks out the shovel for the Texans.
I don't like the Texans.
So the Texans went 11-5. The Colts went 10-6. The Titans went 9-7, and the Jacksonville Jaguars, a very disappointing year for them. 5-11. So Steve's burying the Texans.
I just don't like the Texans. So they stayed healthy last year and they finished 11-5. So J.J. Watt's gonna make what, 3 games this year before he's
What's the over-under?
What's the over/under? J.J. Watt, and then the guy on the other side of the defensive line. What's his? Why am I going blank? Clowney.
Clowney.
He'll make 4 games before he gets hurt. And then Sean Watson, what's he gonna make? 6 games, and then he's hurt. So I don't believe in the Texans. They need a better strength and conditioning coach or something.
Dude, get Louis Simmons over there.
And then, like you already said, Andrew Luck's already got a minor injury, not a minor injury.
I don't know.
It's just a weird division. If there was a year that Jacksonville could rebound, this should be it. They got Big Dick Nick, the quarterback, Nick Foles.
Yeah.
So
are you going to go out on a limb here, Steve? Is this a limb I'm hearing you right now?
Yeah, I'd like Jacksonville to turn it around. Okay. Not greatly, like a 10-6.
He is a ball.
I don't care. They got the best defense in the division because the other defense ain't gonna stay together. It's gonna get
Steve
hurt.
with the biggest limb so
I'm
far.
going around a limb right now. I like Jacksonville at 10-6.
Jacksonville 10-6 on a rebound to take that division.
Yep.
Wow. BV, come with some greatness. Steve just brought it in pretty hard. What do you got?
Well, okay, so. Let's see. Nick Foles has had, 2 4 or 5 game stretches of greatness, and the rest of his career, he's basically been Blake Bortles.
Yeah.
So
I didn't say he's going to light it up. He's just going to finish 10-6.
They might start 4
Steve said he doesn't
and
mean
then
much
end
out
up
of
6-10.
They just got to play solid defense and run the ball.
And then they won't. Oh, but they have Nick Foles, so they won't do that. They're going to finish last.
Wow. BV's burying
I'd say no more than 5 wins. Houston's ready to. I agree that Houston's on its way down. Tennessee will probably. I think they'll compete for a wild card spot and just.
What is the story with Tennessee? Come on, Steve.
They got a run pass RPO quarterback, and they try to run a play action.
I mean, what is
they run a complete opposite offense of what their quarterback can do?
Yeah,
and they've done it for 6 years.
but they do.
And then they try to ride
just to kind of be.
Yeah.
There.
And then they ride Derrick Henry as much as they can, and then when he dies, they die.
That's so weird.
But that's probably good for 8-8, maybe 9-7.
Yeah, every
year. The Colts are going to run away with this division.
Mariota's got to.
You think the Colts are going to run away?
I think the Colts win a minimum of 11 games.
Wow. So you're all in Indy, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think that this division will be over by November.
Wow. BV's talking mad Colts.
Jacksonville wins grimy games, 13-10.
I do think Jacksonville will do better. I'm not.
They're going to be grimy.
I'm in between on that.
I want Tennessee to do great, but they're not.
I just don't know anything about Tennessee.
Mark Vrabel's going to give a year to Mariota, and then he's going to fire him because Mariota. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like at least Arizona, they're going to be garbage, but they took a quarterback for the system they want to run. Mariota just never fit. It made no sense. They took him.
So weird.
And then they're like I formation power running, and I'm like, when did Oregon do this?
They do have Ryan Tannehill now for when.
That's great confidence. They got Stifler and Mariota. It's terrible.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, the thing with the Colts is I don't care what BV's saying. Like he's trying to downplay the Andrew Luck shit. That dude is straight up Swarovski crystal glass, dude. I'm telling you.
Is made out of sugar glass.
So much so that the coach even went down a few years ago. Indy is just...
even the coach got injured in Indianapolis.
I'm just telling you, man. I don't dig it. All right, so then we're going to have... Now, this could be a good division. No. There's one team. That's not just whatever.
No, there's 2.
Right.
But...
So we're going to go way out west to the AFC West. 12-4 Kansas City Chiefs. 12-4. I didn't realize LA went 12-4 last year.
It doesn't matter.
Steve,
I fucking hate Phillip Rivers. They're going to be great. They're going to be Super Bowl contenders. Everyone's going to be licking their ass cracks with their bidets. They're gonna be like, this is the greatest team ever. They'll go to the playoffs and lose. That's what they'll do. See, the Chargers have done that Year after year after year, every year I have to hear about 12 kid having Phillip Rivers and how great he is, and Antonio Gates never dies, and they're going to be awesome, and then they either miss the playoffs or get bounced in the first round.
Yeah.
Screw them. They
I didn't
suck.
think they went 12-4.
And now their running backs holding out, so they don't even have that. Melvin Gordon's not even going to play for the first 4 weeks or whatever.
All right, so there's Steve's Chargers info.
Wow, that was yeah.
They'll still be like 11-5, and everyone's gonna be, ooh, Super Bowl for Phillip Rivers before he retires, gunslinger. And he'll get in the playoff game, throw 4 picks, and lose. Fuck him, and he'll lose to the Patriots. Too.
All right, hold on, Steve. Let me get through the rest of this division before you go
All
off.
right, sorry. I hate Phillip.
So the Broncos went 6-10, and Chucky and the Raiders went 4-12. We know Steve's stance on this. Is there some drop off in Kansas City? That would be my next question to the two of you.
Not when McCombs healthy.
No,
not when he's healthy. They're going to be hard to beat. Not, and in that division, I mean, they're all garbage, including Phillip Rivers. I mean, they might split with the Chargers, but they're sweeping the other two. And, I mean, who's going to be Andy Reeves and modern-day Marty Schottenheimer. He's going to run through the regular season. They're awesome, and then he's going to get in the playoffs and get bounced. This is what's going to happen to him.
BB, you got any different takes coming out of you?
I do think there'll be a drop-off for the Chiefs. I don't think they'll be quite as prolific as they were last year.
They'll be 11-5 instead of 12-4.
But if you're looking for bold, I'll give you this.
Uh-oh.
Not only will the Chargers win the division, the Chargers will represent the AFC in the Super Bowl.
What did
The
you
Chargers
do?
are going to the Super Bowl.
Wait. Calm it down before your hatred, Steve. What's that prediction?
He's
So
got a bronze
The Chargers
pitcher,
will not only win the
Antonio
division, but they will go to the
well, let
Super
it go.
Bowl.
I need to hear BB. Yeah. Give me that prediction, BB.
Chargers will win the division and go to the Super Bowl.
Oh,
They
and
are
Steve
stacked.
will kill himself.
Ain't gonna happen.
Ain't gonna
It's got
happen.
nothing to do with Phillip
I
Rivers.
smell
Ain't gonna happen.
side cheddar for show on this one for you.
Bill has loved the Chargers secretly for 10 years. And they've done nothing. And he's also told me this Patriots suck balls are all going to fall apart and the Chargers are going to step up. And it's never happened. Never. Not once. Screw the Chargers. They aren't doing shit. They fucked over a whole city. They deserve to lose. Fuck them.
My opinion is more towards B. I don't think that Kansas City can be as good as they were this past year. The laser rocket arm cannot continue.
Ask Chris Collinsworth how that's going to
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I just that's my thing is I think some of that. I think that division's going to be muddier.
Well, he's going
to
to get hurt. He's on the Madden cover, so he'll be
Oh,
out by week
yeah,
4.
by rule.
Yeah,
They've got to replace some guys on defense, too.
All right, so we got to figure out some kind of side wager. Steve's going to be in a Chargers Phillip Rivers uniform.
Well, the thing is, through the regular season, they're going to roll. So they're going to look good. They do all the time. We all know. Sometimes they start slow. They lose.
Sometimes they start 0-4.
Yeah, and then they start rolling and rolling and rolling. And Terry Bradshaw starts salivating at the mouth and wanting to blow Rivers.
I'll look awful stupid if they start off 0-4.
No, because then they'll get rolling, and then they'll lose in the playoffs. Or they won't make the playoffs because they lost the 4 games at the beginning of the season, and they lose a couple down the road. But fuck the Chargers. That's the.
I don't think anyone's going to beat the Chiefs, but I don't think they can be as immaculate as they were this past year. They looked
I
really
think 12-4 for the Chargers and 11-5 for the Chiefs. The Chiefs will go as a wild card.
That's so BB saying that division
probably
stacked
probably beat the Chargers, and then they'll lose the next week, and the Chiefs will lose to the Patriots.
All right, so let's leave the AFC. Steve has made a statement about the Chargers. Let's move on to the NFC East. This is a division I can't stand.
Well, the Giants are going to be at the bottom. They're
Yeah, so
Eli Manning
let me
will
get
not
through
hang
it,
up.
Steve. Steve's
Sorry.
he's shot out. Phillip Rivers got him all wound up, BB. So
Bill has loved him for years. He just won't tell you that.
I do not love
You
Phillip
love Philip. You wish you were one of his children.
one of his 17 kids.
Yes. God damn it.
All right, so
You've been a Chiefs homer for your entire life.
yeah.
That's true.
All right, so the Cowboys went 10-6. The Eagles went 9-7. I thought they were a little better than that, but then again, Carson Wentz is made out of glass too.
Yep.
And then we went into Washington 7-9 for the Washington Redskins, 5-11 G-men. All right, so Steve, go ahead. What do you got?
Well, the Giants, I don't know. This is a weird division. So the Cowboys got half their team holding.
I was going to say the whole team didn't show up.
Yeah, so
The whole team wants Jerry Jones loot.
it's probably between the Eagles and the Cowboys. But Eagles got
The Eagles have the Colts issue.
They gotta keep
what's
Wentz.
what's the injury report?
Yeah. And I've been to Philly.
Okay, great.
Their cheesesteaks suck.
All right.
So,
So
fuck
who
them.
do you got winning this division?
Ooh, dude, that's a hard one.
I want Philly all day. I'll be honest with you.
I think Cowboys are going to win it.
Wow. I don't think their team's going to show up.
I think the Cowboys are going to win it in spite of their coach because that guy's terrible.
Jason Garrett, the ginger number 1.
I can't believe how long he's been their coach.
Yeah, dude, he's talking about the Malls on.
Oh,
Put him on the
God.
Malls on.
His fire crotch has been on the hot seat for a long. But I think the Cowboys will probably win it just by default. But they'll win it grimy like they did last year. 10-6, 9-7. Probably a lot of close games between the
I'll
Redskins.
be honest with you.
and
I
them.
didn't realize the Redskins won 7 games last year.
I don't know who their quarterback's going to be this year. I think they won the 7 before.
They won
Alex
Ohio
Smith got
State,
hurt.
right? They won the.
Haskins?
Yeah.
Didn't they get Case Keenum?
Oh.
Yeah, they did.
Because Alex Smith basically dead.
Yeah.
Who you got coming out of the East, BV? Give us some nuggets. What do you got?
I have that concern about Carson Wentz because he is kind of a China doll, but Dallas just, they could have everything set up for them and they'd still find a way to blow it. I think the Eagles probably win this division.
Yeah.
But this is another one of those things that probably, I could see the division winner being something like 8-8 or 9-7, and
I'll tell you this much: we're
with no
all on the
real
same
prospect.
page. The G-men aren't winning 4 games.
Yeah,
they're
they're
going to be terrible. Oh my God.
Well, they're starting Golden Tate's out for 4 weeks. For
Yeah,
PDs.
PDs, man.
Jesus
What's he
Christ,
doing?
They're done. G-men
So,
I feel
all right.
bad for Saquon Barkley. I like him as a running back, but unfortunately, he's stuck on the Giants.
Oof. And unfortunately, we get stuck with a lot of NFC East games here. You notice that too?
True, yeah.
All right, so we're going to leave the East, head to the North. We got the Chicago Bears 12-4. The Vikings went 8-7. The Green Bay Packers 6-9, and the Lions went 6-10. Steve, what's going on in the NFC North for your opinion?
Like Dad said last night, the Vegas says the Lions winning 3
games.
That could be a possibility. I tell you one thing: the only person I hate worse than Carter.
Oh, here we go. Is Mitchell
I don't know if I
Trubisky?
hate him,
What
but
are you about to say?
no.
Aaron Rodgers?
Kirk Cousins is a piece of overrated crap. Minnesota was a solid team, and they got that turd ball who loves to throw pick sixes on the game, a crucial part of it. He'll throw up some nice stats against crap balls, but when the game's on the line, here comes a pick six, and Kirk Cousins lost, and now they're stuck with him with guaranteed money. So Minnesota will be right next to the Lions at the bottom. They'll probably win 6 games, though. They won't win 3.
What do the Packers look like this year? What do the 2019 Packers look like to Steve and BV?
All Aaron Rodgers. They'll be happy, though. He's happy, though. He got his coach he wants.
Yeah.
So
I don't think it's good to let a player dictate a team like that, though.
Too late. They did it.
I don't like that. I never do.
I don't know. I don't believe in the Bears, but the Bears got a solid defense. And boy, they charge a lot for tickets.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
they
do
do.
all NFL teams. You know that.
No, I mean they are like $187 for upper deck.
Oh.
They are ridiculously overpriced in Chicago. I don't know what's going on there. Oh, Green Bay, Chicago. I'm gonna have to go Green Bay because I hate that guy, but Green Bay and then Chicago second.
BV, who you got? Now your home team is Chicago. How does the city of Chicago feel about the Bears right now? What's the?
I think they're kind of cautiously optimistic. My problem with the Bears is that they're a solid defense, but they did lose some stuff in the secondary. They did get my boy HaHa Dix, but
Any Clinton Dix?
I'm sorry, HaHa Clinton Dix. Yeah. I just don't know if they have enough offensive firepower. Steve's gonna blow up at me. I kind of have to go with the Vikings to win this division.
That's Steve.
Because the Packers and
fell asleep on you,
and to be honest with you, I agree with Steve on Kirk Cousins.
He's terrible. They might
But I
win
think
in
they have
spite of
just
him.
enough. See, the thing with the Packers is this is going to be 100% the Aaron Rodgers show. He's got less
That's
weapons.
never good. That is never.
And he's got
good.
less weapons for receivers. That offensive line seems to deteriorate a little bit more every year. He's going to run for his life. I think he'll be lucky to get through the season. And that defense is just a shell of what it used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, people got old, they got bad, and they left.
And then they didn't really replace him.
I think Green
No.
Bay's not going to do well. I don't
think
like
that-
a player dictating. I don't like.
I think that they probably finished third in the division. I think the Vikings and Bears probably compete for the division, and I think the Vikings eke it out.
So, what is your opinion, Steve BV? What is your opinion? How many Lions wins? Do you think it's 3?
You know, I don't hate the Lions. I would like to see them win something. But I don't get what they're doing. I know they're trying
They
to
look
be
abysmal.
a
preseason.
Midwest Patriots, but I don't get it. No, 3 games is what they're
Yeah,
gonna win.
I think it's gonna be bad. It's a bad year.
I'm sorry. It's just
I think it's gonna be 3 or 4.
I hope they surprise
What
me.
is their plan?
No
to
one
be the Midwest
knows.
Patriots. Steve tried to hit on it already.
Yeah, he thinks he can.
I mean,
shit can everyone and replace them with scrubs, and they're no better. I don't get it.
So BB, what do you got over under on Lions wins?
I just popped their schedule open. So they do have Arizona.
That's a win.
They play
That's one
against,
of their 3.
They play Tampa and they play the Giants.
Oh, 3
so there's
wins.
3 possible wins there.
They get swept by the Bears.
I'm gonna say I'll try to be optimistic. I'll give them 4.
I think it's 4 or 5 is what I think it's going to be.
Either way, they're still shitballs. Under 6 is terrible.
Crazy. And then I think the Bears are going to win this division again. I don't know. I don't think there's much of a fall off that BV's referring to. I don't.
I mean, they may not be 12-4. They may be 10-6. I just can't. I don't believe in Kirk Cousins. I'm sorry, that guy's terrible. I've watched too many big games of him throw.
You
big
like
sixes.
that?
Yeah, I mean, he never shows up in big. He's Harbaugh as a quarterback. He never shows up in big games. Yeah, he pounds on like a Tampa Bay, but then when he gets in against a real team, he gets fuck him. Him and Phillip Rivers can have sex and go away.
Wow. Real quick with the Lions, like how close are they to cutting bait on Matthew Stafford?
Don't know. They've been really
Martha loves him.
Yeah.
And plus the wife's dying or whatever the hell it is with the tumors.
Yeah, and they're really the organization themselves are really quiet. All the fans want him gone for 2 years now, but the organization, they say they like him and they don't talk about it much.
Yeah.
So no one really knows, to be honest.
All right, let's leave that division. Let's go south to the NFC South here. The Saints 13-3. They were robbed, son of that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna call
they
that
were.
right now. The Falcons 7-9, Steve's squad. The Panthers 7-9, and then Bucks 5-11.
I agree with Bill. The Bucks are going to be the trash of this division. Unfortunately, Bruce Arians does have to deal with Squinty McGee. That's quarterback. I don't know what eating them victories. Dude's retarded. I'm sorry. I don't like that. I think the Panthers and Ron Rivera have run their course.
Do you think so? I think it's going to be a rebound year for them. I'm going to be optimistic on them. Yeah,
I don't know.
that's my opinion. I think your team's going to go even further south.
Ooh,
I think.
that's a hard one.
Yeah,
They're all
I'm-
healthy this year, so
Yeah. Okay.
we'll see how it goes.
Bunch of teams. They got
They're
all
getting
the
up there
talent
in
in the
age.
world, dude. I'm
Yeah, I
telling you.
know. They don't ever produce what they're supposed. They do it in the regular season, except for last year. They got a lot of injuries last year, and New Orleans probably repeat. But this is another one of those divisions.
New
where
Orleans, there's another team that on paper is getting older, but yeah.
But this NFC South is always notorious for they never repeat winners. It's always someone new.
Yeah.
So maybe your Panthers are right. I just think the Ron Rivera and the Cam Newton thing is kind of getting
Oikos
strained.
0-0 and all this kind of
and
stuff.
they're kind of it's getting to the end there where they're probably about to replace the coach.
So go. Who you got for the division winner right now?
I'm gonna sound slappy, but I'm gonna take the Falcons.
Oh, give them
And
Falcons.
then second place is New Orleans.
I don't believe in the coach at Atlanta. I don't know why.
Dan Quinn. Yeah, I'm not
I
the
don't
biggest
dig
fan.
him. I don't know what it is. BB, what do you got for this
Looks like he's
division?
had
How's that division
chemotherapy.
shaping up to BB, the NFC South?
Well, I think it's a clear 2-team race. I don't think that the Panthers are going to bounce back. In fact, I think they're going to go the other way. Yeah, Cam Newton coming off a shoulder surgery, and if he's not right, then
the team goes with him. Yeah.
then they're basically right there with teams like the Lions and Dolphins and whatnot. I think the Saints probably win the division, but this could be like a 13-3 and 11-5, and I think the Falcons still make the playoffs as a wild card. Saints, by the way, are my other Super Bowl team.
Oh, man. All right. All right. So let's head out west for the NFC. You got the Rams, who, I don't know, 13-3. You got Seattle Seahawks at 10-6. The Niners went 4-12. Golly.
They had a lot of injuries.
4-12, though. That stadium ain't paying for itself.
Yeah, I know.
And the Cardinals, my worst team in the league this year, 3-13. Steve, who you got in the NFC West?
Well, the Cardinals are going to be 2-14.
Dude, I'm telling you, they're going to be
They're
terrible.
going to be terrible. See, I think San Francisco's going to improve, but they're still going to be in the third spot.
6-10.
Yeah, they're going to be rough defensively with they got a Bosa and a couple other people. Jimmy Garoppolo or whatever his name is. He's been banging porn stars. He's healthy now, so he's back.
Garoppolo.
Seattle's still slowly on the decline. They gave all that money to the quarterback and didn't put it into anything else. They let everybody
Remind
pretty
you
much
anywhere
go.
else? Yeah.
Green Bay.
Yeah.
So they're going to be tough to beat on occasion, but I just don't see them. All three of those teams I don't think are going to make the playoffs, and the Rams are going to run away with it.
You think the Rams are not going to take a step back at all?
Well, they were 13-3, so they're going to be 11-5.
I'm just saying, like at some point, like it's kind of my whole Chiefs theory. Like you're so young, I just refuse. You just all of a sudden can't instill this. Every year.
Of these that we're talking about today, I mean, injuries could change everything.
Yeah.
Right? Starting quarterback goes down, a key offensive lineman goes down, where the starting quarterback gets creamed. Injuries could change all this tomorrow. But right now, they have everyone signed, right?
I don't think there's much turmoil.
Not everyone seems to be getting along in the Rams. I don't think any in the NFC really can catch them as far as offensive. Maybe the Saints, maybe the Falcons if they're on their game. Anyone in the North, no. But, the Rams, I think, win this division pretty easily.
All right, who you got Phillip Rivers' #1 fan, DZ, in the NFC West?
Well,
the Chargers in the NFC.
Wow.
Closet Chargers fan.
Fuck you.
BV.
So I think that the move. So Kyler Murray is.
Clicking.
I mean, I know he's drafted. He's a middle infielder in baseball. Okay. You're not going to have a second. You're not going to have how is a second baseman or whatever, or second baseman shortstop in minor league baseball supposed to be the #1 quarterback in the draft, #1 player in the draft and franchise quarterback? He is like a faster version of everybody else we talked about that can't hold up. This is going to be one of the worst first #1 picks in a draft of all time. This is going to blow up famously in Arizona's face, like just about every draft pick they ever have at the top of the draft turns out to be. The 49ers, he might as well be Janine Garoppolo because he's garbage. 49ers are garbage.
It's that usual, like everyone just wants a piece of the Patriots tree, just hoping it works. You know what I mean? Like,
and there was this thing in the news earlier this week about whether or not the fans are going to turn on him because he threw 5 picks in practice against the vaunted 49ers defense. The thing with the Rams, because I think they probably will win the division, but I do think the thing that with them is that Gurley has apparently got a really bad arthritic knee from all the damage he's had to it, and then who knows how long he's going to hold up. And they don't have C.J. Anderson to save his ass anymore. I like Jared Goff as a quarterback, but not as I have to throw the ball 45 times a game to win.
Yeah,
something's got to come off.
It's a good thing that defense is as good as it is because they're going to need to be. The Seahawks are kind of under the radar. They'll probably be. I would expect the Rams to probably win the division and the Seahawks to end up something like 10-6 and end up in the in a wild card spot or something. But and I can't stand the Seahawks, but they tend to be.
I don't know. So going around the room, who you got for AFC, NFC, Super Bowl? Who you got? See, throw it out there way too goddamn early.
NFC Super Bowl. Shit. Well, I'm gonna be fucking slappy. Why not? I want the Falcons back in the Super Bowl. Fuck it. Let's go with the.
There's no homerism in that at all.
Not at all.
Jesus.
And the not Titans. Who do I like? God, it's hard to go against the Patriots. It's hard to go against the Patriots. I don't like anyone in the AFC South. Patriots or Chiefs.
I want the Chiefs just because, give Andy Reid some love. You know what I mean?
I mean, he's made a Super Bowl. Didn't
I know, but I'm talking about just give him some love. Get him, you know what I mean?
Well, all right, let's go. Chiefs and Falcons. Boy,
Falcons.
I would love that Super Bowl.
Dude, I know who would hate it. Whoever's hosting the Super Bowl will be like, no one's going to watch this.
No, Mahomes huge.
Yeah, I got it.
Little kids love that guy right now. He's huge.
So Chiefs, Falcons, pick a winner way too goddamn early, Steve. Go.
I got to pick a winner?
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to take the home team, Falcons.
Oh, shit. Look at Steve.
I'll be totally wrong on all of this.
Woo. Well, that's the best part of all these way too early predictions.
No.
BV, give me a way too early prediction.
All right. I've got the Saints in the NFC.
I was going to go with the Saints because they were robbed.
Yeah.
They were robbed. Let's be honest.
Steve's favorite team in the AFC, the Chargers.
Oh, man.
He said it earlier.
Another terrible Super Bowl that no one wants to watch.
and I've got the Saints winning a close one.
And I'm going to take the Saints, and I want to give love to the Chiefs just because, again, I think me and you have like an inner fat man love for Andy Reid.
Yes.
Like, just give this man some love. And I
a
want
hell
the
of a
Chiefs to
mustache.
win the whole thing because, it would just be crazy. But I can't.
In reality, it's gonna be the goddamn Patriots back again.
None of us will say that on this show.
And
None
then
of us
it's
will.
gonna be like the Bears, and they're gonna roll the Bears 41
So
to 12.
give me a big surprise for this year. I think you already kind of said it earlier in that Jaguars.
I'm gonna go with Jacksonville. I think
The
they're
big
gonna rebound. A
surprise.
little. Now, when I say rebound, it doesn't mean they're gonna turn into the Rams and score 70 points a game. They're gonna win close, grimy 17-13 games. Nick Foles is going to do what he did in the Eagles and barely score, and it's going to look awful on offense.
Nonetheless,
but they're going to win, and they're like 10 to 6. 10
it's going to be
games.
scoreboards, is what you're
Yeah,
talking about.
and they're going to
Scoreboards.
barely win the division. It's going to
Okay.
be scrappy. So I like
Just
Jacksonville.
give that Jacksonville.
I'm not saying they're
randomly.
going to turn into the Chiefs and score 40
Yeah.
a game, So, anyways, Jacksonville is my surprise for the year.
BV, give me some random ass prediction. I don't care. What do you got? BV died.
No, I'm trying to think because we've already talked about most of it.
I tell you what, I'm going to give you one random one as I'm looking at. I don't like the Colts. I just don't. I think the Colts are going to be terrible. I think that the Colts, he cannot stay healthy because everyone's like, well, you can't predict injuries. I can predict one injury. Andrew Luck in Indianapolis is going to happen. I'm telling you, I don't like him.
And J.J. Watt.
Yeah.
He's going to get hurt.
Let me bury the Colts. I could be completely wrong. Steve's uplifting the Jaguars. I'm burying the Colts. BV, give me something random.
All right, here we go. The Raiders will win 7 games.
Oh, that's interesting.
Wow. Buying into the Chucky system over here.
This should be interesting.
There's your 2019 NCAA and NFL from us. We don't know shit. We just love to
Halfway
talk
through the
about
season, we'll revisit it all and see
Yeah.
how wrong we all
Throw
are.
it out there
Yeah,
and
we'll
see how
all
it's-
be wrong.
I'm officially unable to make that particular episode. The Chargers are like 2-6.
BV,
So
I got
I
a
do
thing.
not recall picking the Chargers.
Wow. So BV's early Super Bowl champs are the Chargers.
Oh, the champs or the Saints?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, but nonetheless, that's a limb, BV. You might die on that limb.
Yeah, I mean, I think Jacksonville will be approved, but not going to no Super Bowl.
The Jaguars winning the division.
I said it would be close. And I'm going to sit there and run away with it.
All right.
All right. So there you go. There's some football for you. Now, the wrestling-wise, not much happened. SummerSlam came up. It wasn't the greatest from what I understand. It was just 2 decent
So you didn't
matches.
even watch it?
Nope.
BV, did you watch it?
I did.
Okay.
It
what
was,
do you got?
It was good. It wasn't outstanding, but it was good.
No real surprises, though. No one came in out of nowhere. For, big event in the summer. You think they would have some surprises. A lot of guys were actually missing from it. No Braun Strowman, no Daniel Bryan, no Roman Reigns. There was a lot of people.
And no Drew McIntyre.
No Drew McIntyre. A lot of guys on their roster that they paid big money to wasn't even at the pay-per-view. So I thought that was kind of weird. But, Bill, you agree. A lot of people said Lesnar and Seth Rollins was a good match. And they
It was
say
a pretty
Trish
good match.
Stratus and Charlotte Flair was better than it should have been. You agree with that?
Better
Thor?
than it should have been, but a lot of people were saying that was the best match of the card, and no, it was better than I expected because I didn't think Stratus would be able to hang at all and just physically, and she did better than expected, but it still wasn't. It wasn't one of the better women's matches of the year or anything. It was a slightly above average match.
There you go. So not a lot happening right now in wrestling. Now it's going to be slow. Wrestling's going to be slow between now and probably Survivor Series. But
You said they go dormant kind of this time.
yeah.
of year.
Now there's going to be an uptick. Probably what is that? September, October when Fox takes over.
Okay.
So we'll keep you posted on what
Fox
happens
is
there.
taking over what?
SmackDown.
SmackDown.
It's coming to Fox Channel 2 on Friday nights. So we'll
Yeah.
see what they do, if they do any kind of extravaganza or whatever. Eric Bischoff's taking over the show that night. So let's see if it's any different or if I come back on here and go, yeah, it was still boring. Nothing happened.
If there's any kind of injection.
Yeah. So we'll see if they're holding off for the good stuff till then. But there was a big event last night, UFC 241 from the Honda Center in Anaheim, California.
Yeah. So we actually picked this up. We actually got this pay-per-view. Steve and the old man came over. It was a stacked card, and that's why I ended up picking this one up. I've kind of been lukewarm on a handful of the pay-per-views lately, But this was really good. So we had a rematch of Daniel Cormier versus Stipe Miocic. We had Yoel Romero fighting this Paulo Costa guy. And then we also had Nate Diaz made his big return against Anthony Pettis.
Everyone disrespecting him.
Yeah, he's so annoying. Golly. Talk about the Phillip Rivers of UFC. We had a great time with it. So initially, these two underwear models in Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa fought it. They beat the shit out of one another. No one was trying any grappling. Just stood up and they swung for the fences. It was pretty entertaining.
The guy who won, his face looked like hamburger though, and the other guys didn't.
Steve's
so
always,
I thought that was a little weird.
Steve does blood judging every time. Yeah.
I mean, if you look like your face went through a meat grinder, you should have lost the fight. That's all I'm saying.
And then, so Nate Diaz won a decision over Anthony Pettis. It just came out Anthony Pettis broke his foot in the first round of that fight, too. Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Very
And, he was walking around talking about disrespect and all this kind of stuff and, whatever.
How good a fight was that?
It was pretty good. Me and Steve were pretty entertained by it, admittedly.
Nate Diaz controlled most of it through. It was only 3 rounds. It was a 3-round fight.
It was definitely one-sided.
He controlled most of it.
Yeah. And then into the heavyweight title fight happened. This is the second time Daniel Cormier fought Stipe Miocic. And it was very one-sided. Daniel Cormier was beating his ass, quite frankly.
Before he started, I will say, mad respect to Daniel Cormier for the beer gut he has.
Dude, he is in shape, son.
I mean,
and that
was a
round.
Gutex
yeah, he didn't
on
give
an
a
MMA
shit.
fighter I've ever seen.
Dude, I tell you this
messed
much.
up.
He was dominating the fight for 3 rounds, and then in the 4th round, Miocic discovered this body shot.
Yeah, you would appreciate it, Bill.
Oh, my God, BV. He was just dropping him in the gut, and then all of a sudden he caught him once, and he just spit slobber, and then Miocic jumped on him and whooped his ass. The one thing that Steve and I were trying to understand, Daniel Cormier is like a world-renowned wrestler, okay?
Olympics 2 times, 2004.
I mean, this is no joke. Like, he'd get you to the ground and grind you out. He did not try. He's just throwing hands. And to his point, he was winning. But, like, at some point, he lost the stand-up game.
Yeah, he should have went for takedowns. I don't know what he was doing. He thought he was Rocky. Was he watching a Rocky marathon?
I don't know, man. But he was doing really well, I got to admit.
Yeah.
But he just, those body shots, somehow he discovered this freaking body shot on Cormier. He just dropped.
Yeah, I think he might have broke a rib.
Dude, he at least bruised that liver, son. That's all I know, because it was brutal. So, very entertaining fight. And like I said, a really stacked card. We were really entertained by it. This was my first UFC pay-per-view we streamed through the ESPN app. So now it's only exclusive through the ESPN app, and the stream worked really well. I don't know how many buys they had or whatever, but yeah, big time event. We had a great time watching it.
So was that on top of the normal subscription for ESPN Plus, or was it just part of the subscription?
That's on top. So I had to pay $60 on top of.
Okay.
So I didn't have. So you don't need to have the ESPN Plus membership or subscription, rather, not membership, to get the pay-per-view. You could buy it outright through the ESPN app. But if you want to get a lot of the fight nights, and the fight night I'm going to talk about that's coming up on the 31st here in China, that's on the ESPN Plus app, and you require the subscription.
Now, the one thing I got to say, because we knocked WWE about it, it's a little long. I mean,
the prelims start at 6:30.
I didn't get home till almost 1:15 by the time that was over.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So, I mean, if we're going to knock WWE for long-ass WrestleMania, UFC's got to tighten up some of their stuff.
But you did kind of the move. You kind of came in later. Me and the old man were watching a lot of the prelim stuff. You kind of came in a little later. The crazy part is you don't need nothing builds, so you just kind of watch those fights and maybe you could check out the results. But it was a very long pay-per-view.
Yeah.
They're trying to give you value. And that's what kind of the UFC struggles with for me, is sometimes I feel it's hard to justify that $60. You know, and the WWE thing, we've talked about it before. I've got nothing but respect. For $9 a month to get the pay-per-views for the WWE Network is a great value. It really is, folks.
Yep.
If you're into wrestling, that's fantastic. If there was like $9 and I can get all the UFC pay-per-views, dude, it's not.
Sign up in a minute.
Yeah, it's so you got to justify, to BV's point, another $60, you know, on top of your memberships that you'd have. So, but anyway, and then the other thing is coming up on the 31st from China. A couple chicks are fighting, which I know Steve's a huge fan of.
Yeah.
Jessica Andrade is fighting Weili Yang. Now, Weili Yang, or Zhang, sorry, not Yang, but she is like a true.
She Jamaican?
Well, the crazy part is she's like
It sounds like a Jamaican.
she's
name.
Bahamian actually. She's
Yeah,
from the
okay.
Bahamas.
Okay.
No, but she's like a true martial artist. So she's kind of fun to watch on some level. Like you can see she's old school. She's not part of the mixed martial arts. She's more just a martial arts person. It's pretty fun.
She like Korean zombie kind of shit. Or
Yeah,
something?
like she's pure fundamental, like, you know what I mean? Like very kick based and all that kind of stuff. So it's pretty entertaining. Unfortunately, I think Jessica Andre is going to stomp the brakes off of her. That's a whole other conversation. But the weird part is because it's from China, it's at 6 a.m. our time because it's in China. So I'll just catch a replay is all I'm going to do because that's built into that ESPN Plus app. So you can catch the replay on it. So yeah, good weekend for UFC stuff. I agree with Steve. You got to pare down that pay-per-view a little bit, and it was $60. But
Is there an expectation that there'll be a rematch for the Cormier Miocic?
I think he's going to retire. Me and Steve had a big conversation about this. I think he's done. I think he's going to hang it up, is my opinion.
Cormier?
Yes. I think he's 40 years old. His mind is not in the octagon in order to be these crazy guys.
That's Charles's theory last night, but then he came out and won 3 rounds, and Charles was like, what do I know?
MMA is so hard to predict. It's virtually impossible. So I think he's done, is my 2 cents. I obviously am not in his camp. I can't tell you that specifically, but I think he's done. So big weekend for MMA fighting.
There you go. Some MMA. Now we got a little bit of news, a little bit of nerd news for you, and then we'll get you out of here. Now, if you remember, Charles, when Solo came out, me and you beat the drum for that movie, but it didn't do as well.
We try with all of our listeners and everything.
Yeah, nobody gives a shit besides us. Well, there was also rumor of an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie and a Boba Fett movie. But since Solo didn't do as good as they wanted, they scrapped both of those movies. So what they've done, there's a show called The Mandalorian where he looks just like Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So and now an Obi-Wan series is coming to the Disney Plus service.
With Ewan?
Yep.
Yeah, Ewan McGregor is going to reprise. So this is prequel era Obi-Wan Kenobi adventures.
Well, kind of. It's going to take place when he's on Tatooine watching over Luke.
That's pretty good.
So, yeah. So it's just kind of funny. I find it funny that, oh, yeah, see, we didn't go to the movie. They canceled the movies, all the fans. But they're just going to turn around and make it a TV series. So
And get your money somewhere else.
yeah, so I just thought that was funny. So that's another thing coming to that Disney Plus. They got a lot of stuff coming.
It's a great value, too.
I wonder if they deliver on it all. We'll have to wait and see. Time will tell. Now, on the other side of the world is DC Comics and Warner Brothers. And there was a show called Krypton on Sci-Fi. Krypton was semi-popular with nerds.
Is it the planet that Superman's from?
Yes, and this show took place. It was like a prequel to Superman, so it was covering his people and stuff. And
Like Krypton High School? Is
no,
that what
no. It's like his father, his grandfather, covering them. And I never watched it, but it had a lot of characters they brought in from DC, like Brainiac and stuff like that. My boss watched it; he liked it a lot. And then Lobo was supposed to be spin off. Well, they had all these plans, and then Sci-Fi canceled them all. And DC and Warner Brothers cut it and said goodbye. So if you're into Krypton, 2 seasons is all you got. Enjoy it because there's no more coming. So
I'll be honest. I don't watch a lot of these shows, but I'm definitely up on what they are. I didn't even know these shows existed. So that tells you how
Lobo
bad.
was in the making. They were making it.
Oh, okay.
And then they cut all ties.
I've
with
never heard of Krypton. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
Which
It
isn't
had
good.
really high production values.
Really?
Like Brainiac looked almost like he was like from a movie, and they had some characters they would bring in. It just was a stupid story. Like who cares about Superman's grandpa? It's like so, and Zod would show up here and there. But I think what the problem was high production values and nobody was watching.
Yeah.
So, Bill, are you familiar with Grizzly Knows Best, that weird show that comes on after Raw?
I don't watch it.
Me either. I always turn it off. I just thought this was
What is
fun.
it?
It's a reality show about some guy. He's a blonde. I don't know if he's gay or not gay, but he has a
I
family.
know that the guy's his wife, so
Yeah.
he's supposed to not be gay.
He's a
but
very
he
feminine dad, and he's got 2 kids and a grandma. It's a reality kind of comedic reality show type thing.
It's like loosely scripted. I'm
Yeah,
sure,
it's on USA.
Yeah.
It's a lot like Honey Boo Boo is and stuff like that. But they are getting arrested for tax evasion.
Oh, wow.
So you got all this money from your show and you didn't pay your taxes. Wow. Ask Wesley Snipes, but he claims he's innocent and it's all going to be
That's
worked
the situation from the
out. Yeah, how many
Jersey
celebrities don't pay taxes? Wesley Snipes, Willie Nelson, Grizzly, Christopher Grizzly, I think his name is the guy that runs this. I don't. It looks the show looks terrible.
Todd Grizzly.
Todd Grizzly, sorry, and it's been on 3 or 4 seasons now.
Wow.
It's only on USA. It comes on after Raw. It looks terrible. I didn't.
But
get
nonetheless, the stars of that show are getting pinched. Huh?
Yeah. The father and the mother are up for tax evasion, so they.
Yeah, well, and it's more than that too. They have wire fraud and conspiracy to commit bank.
Oh,
Apparently,
I
one of their employees, former employees, presented the feds with a bunch of documents that they're saying are fabricated that
sold them out.
They committed. Yeah, so that they committed all kinds of financial crimes. So
I always find it funny when celebrities do illegal stuff. Yeah. So I'll get a little kick, as long as they're not murdering people. So there you go. That's all. We don't have no rants. Anything you want to bitch about today, Charles?
No,
I mean,
really,
things are going pretty good. So we already talked about our medications.
BB, you got any rants? You got anything hitting you weird lately?
no, not really.
No,
Pretty boring life for all of us. But,
yeah.
so there you go. There's our NFL, NCAA preview. I always like to thank Bill for being on the show, even though he loves Phillip Rivers.
Call him Billip Rivers from now on.
Wow.
BV
Fuck
Rivers.
Fuck you. Who that?
And you can catch us on Apple iTunes, Google Play, and Spotify, and on our website, fatguyslittlepodcast.com. Until next week with the, what is it, big 60th episode?
Is it 60?
Yeah,
Is
we're on
it?
59
Wow.
Didn't you
right
just say
now.
this? Didn't you just say this one was the 58th?
I don't know.
58.
Steve's
I
making
don't
shit
know.
up as we go.
I think
Your math's a
59.
little off there.
Somewhere in there. Around 60.
Nonetheless,
So,
we've been talking quite a bit over the year.
yeah, so until next time, we'll catch you later. Have a good one.